to Paranormal Central, broadcasting live from Central California with your hosts Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas. Broadcasting video worldwide at paranormalcentral.net and broadcasting audio on the network at our.com. Are you ready to witness something you cannot explain?
I'm looking for you. You're looking for me. We have to decide what it will be. Can it be true? Can I believe the unexplained? Look into the sky, you realize you're not alone. Open your eyes, you can find the trails that control.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Central, broadcasting live from the bottom left-hand corner of the Nevada Triangle in a city called Fresno, California. Hello everyone, my name is Jeffrey Gonzalez. I am your host of the show, also the founder of a group called the Sanger Paranormal Society. I've been investigating the paranormal going over 14 years, so I'm just not up here talking about it, I'm actually living it. Got a team. One member of that team is sitting right here to the right-hand side of me, Mr. Alan Thomas.
Hi, y'all. Hi, y'all in chat. Hi, y'all around the world.
Thank you for showing up wherever you may be. Like Alan said, around the world we have fans in every country, continent. It's crazy. Thank you for showing up. It might be Monday morning on your side, Monday night, 2 o'clock in the morning. And you guys are just kicking it, waiting for the show to start, and I want to appreciate that. I mean, I really appreciate that a lot, because without you guys, we have nothing. So thank you again, wherever you may be. I appreciate it. We are broadcasting live HD quality video on Sundays at 6 o'clock p.m. on live stream. We have a link. You can go to our website at paranormalcentral.net, paranormalcentral.net. There's a link that says live stream. It'll take you right over to the show page. And at 6 o'clock we turn on and you can watch us live. If not, if you miss us, if there's something else better to do on Sundays, I don't know what that would be. But you can always go back to the archives at YouTube, where we archive the shows about a day afterwards.
Hey, we're not widescreen. It must have got changed to, what do they call it, 4:3 instead of 16:9.
Oh well.
So I think the last one was like that too.
Oh, okay. It was probably one of those things in there where we have to change it. I think we're goofing around and did that stuff. No big deal.
Yeah.
So.
We actually are adding cameras, so we've been playing with everything.
Right. We've been fooling around with the camera setup in here. So hopefully pretty soon we're going to go to 3 to 4 camera setup and add to the show, that's for sure, and give you a little bit more better of a show. And, you know, I think what we're doing right now is okay, but it can get better, and we are going to get better. So, all right, well, tonight we have a guest. Last week we were supposed to have him on, but there was miscommunication someplace between the two of us, and something happened, but now we rescheduled him for tonight. Mr. Grant Cameron, he is going to come on. He is an author. He is well known in the UFO community. If you don't know who this guy is, UFO Congress, he has a website, presidentialufo.com. If a president knows about a UFO, then this guy knows about it. And he just recently came out with a book. It's called the Clinton UFO Storybook. And what a perfect time to get him on, since Clinton is now running for the presidency. And
she's running from UFOs. No, I'm just kidding.
So I think it's going to be fun time tonight. We're going to hope we can get a lot out of him from presidents way before our time and see what he knows, and maybe he can give us some input about what's really going on in the White House. Because you would think that the leader of the free world, which is of the United States, the president of the United States, is the guy who supposedly knows everything. This past 8 years, or actually Clinton. I know Clinton. The Clintons are very heavy into the UFO phenomena, and I think that's why Mr. Grant here put out this book. And I want to know why. Why are the Clintons so interested in outer space? Are we alone? I don't know. Well, hopefully he can answer that. So, in about 15 minutes after the hour, we're going to get him on Skype, and I think we're going to do it video. So we're going to pull the screen down behind us, and hopefully he'll pop up, and we'll be able to have him live. And I believe he's in Canada. So we're going to talk to him for about an hour, maybe a little less than that. I don't know. I'm not sure. And we're going to get the scoop on the Clintons and presidents and UFOs and see what they know. And because, I've heard stories. Everybody have heard stories. Alan have heard stories. And I want to know if they're true or not. So hopefully we can get it out of Grant. So we'll get him.
He's probably going to tell us, it's just a bunch of stories.
So hopefully, like I said, hopefully we'll get some insight from what's going on in the White House. So after that, later on we have Heidi, but there's a lot of stuff going on right now. I'm not going to say I told you so because it hasn't been to that point yet, but I did say that I believe the debates were not going to happen because I believe there's going to be some false flags coming up. And I said probably at the end of this week they're going to start, but they already started in my book. And that's from the explosions last night in New York. Where is the debate going to be held? In New York. What happened last night? Well, we had a couple of bombs explode, and it just so happens that I believe they were the bombs were built in a pressure cooker, just like the Boston Marathon bomb. Now, you can take this all in different ways. People were saying they believe that the bombs exploded, or the bombs were placed there to explode on a certain day, which was yesterday, and that is because of what happened in Syria. Supposedly, we shot the good guys by accident, allies, I believe, or was it Russian troop? Was it Russian allies?
No. It was supposedly the ones.
The Syrian.
Two Muslim factions, right?
Right.
One hates the other one. We're on the side that hates us.
Okay.
Or no, that likes us and hates the ones we hate.
Okay.
And they accidentally bombed those guys, and then the Russians accused us of being on the wrong side.
Okay.
And I think they
might be onto something.
I actually think they want to do this. I'm out there, so like in my world, out there means that why they want to kill everybody with the water and this and that and bombs. So it's a big setup.
We will have to find out, huh? Yeah, like I said, I just can't see Hillary Clinton debating Trump only because of her medical condition, and they're going to do something to prevent her from debating, I believe. And the explosions last night pretty much told me, well, I think maybe that's what's going to happen. But we'll see. And we have some other stuff we're going to talk about as well.
You can stop.
So let me put up. Okay, so in about 5 minutes, we're going to have Grant on, and we're going to go ahead and talk about UFOs and presidents, and
And this is my tour through space. It cost me $1.50. No, I'm just kidding.
Tour? What are you smoking over there? Presidents. I don't know. I mean, all the way back to Eisenhower. Jimmy Carter said he saw one. Reagan I believe, is in the know-how. The Bushes have always been in the know-how, only because President Senior was the director of the CIA, and that guy right there knows everything you want to know about everything.
Reagan got briefed, supposedly.
And I remember him talking to, I think it was the UN, when he says we need to have some type of a Star Wars. in case there was an alien attack. And I think Reagan brought that up. And again, Mr. Grant here will talk about that as well.
I hope he knows all about that.
Oh,
That'll be
trust
interesting.
Me. Oh, trust me, he does. Oh, this guy does. Now, Grant has a website, and it is, matter of fact, I learned of this website several years ago when I saw an article about Steven Spielberg debuting the E.T. movie E.T. to the Reagans at the White House in the screening room, I guess they have in there. And it was overheard that Reagan told Spielberg that, hey, you don't know how close you are or to that type of, that you don't know how close you are to what you just made on the screen there. And I guess at that point in time, Reagan must have known something.
Well, according to what I read, that was part of his briefing. That part of the briefing was that he was in the know when he made that movie, and that part of that movie was actually true, and that when they landed, what's his name that was making the thing with the mashed potatoes?
Right, Dreyfus.
Yeah, Dreyfus.
Cold Encounters of the Third Kind.
They actually did a switch with some aliens and humans. Humans went and lived on their planet for 15 years or 20 years, and their people stayed on our planet. And according to the briefing, 2 of our guys stayed over there. A couple of them died over there, and then the rest of them returned. But 2 of them stayed over there, which is a trip.
I wonder if Mr. Grant would know anything about that. I guess we're just going to have to find out and get the info from him.
It's going to be good.
Hopefully. I'm just trying to find something here on my screen. Well, go ahead. You know what? Go ahead and get Grant on, and go ahead and do your stuff over there on the computer, and let's get him on the screen behind us.
Time?
Oh yeah, it's time.
Yeah, close enough, huh?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Gosh dang it, Jeff. Things seem to disappear from my phone. I have apps all disappearing all the time, and it's mostly because I end up erasing it by accident. But that's the way it goes.
I gotta.
Grant here.
Hey, Grant, how's it going? This is Jeffrey.
Yeah, how you doing? Good.
I'm doing.
I got my thing here not working.
What's not working? You're not seeing us yet?
I've got a headset, but it's not working, so I'll try.
Uh-oh. Okay. Check 1, 2 to Grant. Over.
Okay, I can hear you well. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can barely hear you. Let's see. Go ahead and say something now.
Test 1, 2, 3. Test.
Yeah. Are you talking away from the mic or?
I have a headset.
There you
but
go.
It's not working for some reason.
Okay. Well, now your voice comes up really awesome. Now it's
Okay, so let's do it without the headset.
okay. There you go. Well, you sound awesome right now. So, all
Okay.
right, all right. Hey, Grant, thank you very much for showing up tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
You got a camera on your side or just
Yeah.
audio? You do? Okay. Well, Alan is going to be working with that right now. Try to get you up on the big screen right behind us. Just to let everybody know, there was a little miscommunications from both of us from last week, and somehow I screwed it up. Maybe, I don't know. But there you are.
There he is.
There he is.
How you doing?
We got you. So, all right. Awesome. Well, we're broadcasting live right now worldwide, HD quality video, and I'm happy to have you on. Been wanting to get you on a long time, but I waited until our viewership was up into the thousands, so that way you get the most important people on now.
Well, I appreciate it.
So,
thanks for that.
Sure. We're fans of you. We've had James Fox on here a lot,
Okay.
and he actually came down to the studio live a couple times, shot a pilot for us for TV, and so we know James Fox really well, what a perfect time to get you on with all the Clinton stuff going on, huh?
Yeah, not such a good time for Clinton in the last couple of days, but yeah, it's it was a big story, much more in the last couple of months, but
Right.
we just had a little bit of a development in the last couple of days, but yeah, it's a big story.
So when you say developments, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
Well, we had Barack Obama mention the aliens again the other day, maybe 2-3 days ago, and we had I think I sent you the link today.
Yes, you did.
we had Trump appointed James Woolsey as his sort of CIA advisor, his intelligence advisor. And Woolsey has a big background in ufology. And in my Clinton book, I have a whole chapter on him.
Wow.
And he had two encounters. He had an encounter, he and his wife, in the mid-1970s, a daylight UFO sighting. And under the Clinton administration, he contacted Stephen Greer. This is the famous story that he met with Stephen Greer for 3 hours, and there's all this controversy inside in the UFO community about what they talked about or whatever. And I say I had a lot of experience with the CIA and try to file FOIAs with them. And I know that if you sit down with the CIA director, I don't care what you're talking about. It's important that Stephen Greer got to sit with him for 3 hours.
Wow.
And Stephen Greer claims that they talked to UFOs. And then later, James Woolsey denied the whole thing. But in the book, I point out the fact that there's a woman by the name of Catherine Austin Fitz, who a number of years later basically told us almost a very similar story to Stephen Greer, that she was also involved with James Woolsey and John Peterson, who was involved in the first encounter with Woolsey and Greer. And she claimed that the offer had been made to her, how would you like to meet with a live alien? And that they were working on a plan to introduce aliens to acclimatize the population, that there was actually aliens living among us. And of course, James Woolsey had to deny this story. He and Peterson denied this story, but they'd already been caught with Greer. And so it starts to look like, yeah, these things probably did happen. So Woolsey has this bizarre sort of connection to UFOs and Bill Clinton. And he also, under pressure from Stephen Greer and Stanton Friedman, in 1993, Woolsey went and actually started a new CIA study on UFOs. And the CIA will say, you know, we weren't involved, we're not interested in UFOs. And suddenly Woolsey's in there, and the story inside the UFO community was that he had started this study. And sure enough, in 1997, there was a study put out by the CIA. This is their famous sort of a white paper where they put out the fact that majority of UFOs are being caused by U-2 and SR-71 sightings. So they put this thing out and sort of poo-pooed it, but they actually did do the study. And the CIA wouldn't do another UFO study because they're interested in it, or because they claimed they're not interested in it. It was because they were getting pressure from the UFO community to do it, and they put the study out. And what I heard through my channels was that Woolsey actually, this was just on the unclassified files, and that Woolsey actually looked through the classified files on UFOs. So he is now the advisor to Trump. And then today, Trump also went after Marie Dowd.
Yeah.
And Marie Dowd is with the New York Times. And if you know the John Podesta story, all this stuff that's going on with Hillary Clinton has really nothing to do with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton has never brought up the subject of UFOs. She has only answered questions on 3 occasions. And it's actually John Podesta that's behind this. He's the guy that's pushing the UFO issue. And he started this thing in February of 2015. At that time, he was working for President Barack Obama. And on the last day that he was there, before he left the Barack Obama administration to be the chairperson for the Hillary Clinton campaign, he puts out this famous tweet that said, once again, and that's very important, the wording, because if you read John Podesta's stuff, you have to realize that his wording is very important. He's sort of the smartest guy in the room, but he calls himself, he likes to be part of the cult of non-personality. He's not out there, he's not very vocal like Trump. He does stuff from like the Wizard of Oz. He's pulling the strings from behind the curtain.
Whoa.
And so he, in this famous tweet, he says, once again, which means he tried this before and he couldn't get it done. Once again, my biggest disappointment in 2014 was not getting the disclosure of the UFO documents. And he puts out this on the last day that he's in the Barack Obama administration, which almost looked like a sort of a slight to Barack Obama, that he would put this out as he was leaving. And he puts this out, and then on the bottom of it, if you look at the tweet, which is all over the place, he copies Marie Dowd. And I remember talking to Steve Bassett about this, and it was actually Steve Bassett who mentioned to me. I didn't even notice that Marie Dowd was copied on the bottom of this tweet. And I said to Steve, I said, well, why would he copy Marie Dowd? Because she's from the New York Times. And the New York Times has really never done a straight piece on UFOs. They've always, it's like this is a subject you don't touch. They want to be too cool. So they've never done they may have done tongue-in-cheek articles, but they've never done a straight-out piece. And it took about a year. And this is why I'm saying you've got to read John Podesta very carefully. It wasn't until a year later I suddenly realized why Marie Dowd was on the bottom of this tweet, that she is actually pro-UFO, and she's a major reporter for the New York Times. And I actually, I'll post this on my blog site, which is the White House UFO blog, which people can just Google search that and they'll find it. It'll be up tomorrow. I'm going to put up this article which describes this. She wrote an article in 1997 which I didn't find until a year after this tweet came out, that actually talked about, as you recall, in the Clinton administration, Clinton was under a lot of pressure to do something on UFOs, and he did 2 Roswell studies.
Okay.
And once again, the U.S. Air Force doesn't do Roswell studies because they're interested in UFOs, or they've got nothing better to do. They want to do UFOs. They did the Roswell studies because they were under pressure from Lawrence Rockefeller and from a number of quarters from the Schiff and some of the government agencies to do this Roswell investigation. And in 1997, they came out with their second Roswell report, and this is the one where they answered Bill Clinton's question. The first Roswell report came out in 1995. Bill Clinton saw it, and he was upset with it. And he goes to Belfast, Northern Ireland. If you've seen the famous speech that Bill makes, he's lighting the Christmas tree, and that's where he refers to this letter from Ryan. He said, Ryan, if you're out in the audience tonight, here's the answer to your question. No, as far as I know, a UFO did not crash in Roswell, New Mexico. But if the U.S. Air Force did recover bodies, they didn't tell me about it, and I want to know.
Right.
The reason he did that is because in the first Roswell report released in 1995, the U.S. Air Force did not talk about the bodies that were reported by Roswell witnesses in 1947. So Clinton's basically saying, I read the report, explain the bodies. And so in 1997, the Air Force comes out with a second Roswell report, spent, I think, $20 million for another report, came out with a second report and said, oh, Mr. President, here's the answer to your question. Not indirectly, they're saying. The bodies were 6-foot-tall wooden dummies with Air Force uniforms and big tags on them saying, we'll give you $25 if you turn this dummy in, and drop with parachutes in 1953, and that's why people were misidentifying them as 4-foot-tall aliens in 1947. So Marie Dowd actually writes an article, and I have the actual link, and it'll be in the article, where she quotes, and she basically says, I mean, this is like the single bullet theory for the Kennedy assassination. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. This actually proves that Roswell actually probably did occur. You couldn't come up with anything so stupid. So Marie Dowd writes this real pro-UFO article saying that the Air Force is covering up Roswell in 1997. So when John Podesta tweets in 2015, he copies Marie Dowd. So you have these sort of developments, but a lot of the UFO developments you see that are coming through politics are coming through back doors. You've got to really sort of study it to see what's going on, because nobody's doing anything directly. Almost like Barack Obama the other night mentions all the problems that he's had. He's sort of pushing up his administration because, of course, Trump is saying he's the worst president ever. He destroyed everything, and so he's saying, okay, we've got unemployment's gone from 10% down to 4.9%, and the highest pay increase last year in percentage in history. And he's going through all these things that happened in his administration that were very positive, and then he says, the only things we really didn't have to deal with was asteroids and aliens. And then somebody in the audience yells out, I guess you shouldn't mention the aliens. And he said, yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't have mentioned the aliens. So Barack likes to play with this alien thing.
Yeah,
he's done it a number of times. He's mentioned this alien type thing, almost like he knows what's going on. He's playing with it. And the only thing that saves disclosure is the fact that the media will not ask him the question. He can talk about it, and the media is still playing this game like, well, we want to ask about, what's going on in Iraq or Syria, or if you're a reporter, you want to ask the smart question. You want to look like you're really smart. Nobody wants to ask the dumb UFO question.
Right.
Although in May of this year, they actually did. I actually thought And I have been very anti-disclosure. I remember there was a conference that was held. Steve Bassett had one of his X-conference a number of years ago. I was there, and there was they put all the people on the panel, all the speakers, and Steve went through the panel and he said, when do you think disclosure is going to take place? And this person would say 6 months, this one would say a year, and he came to me and I said 2042. I mean, I've never believed in you, and Steve was really upset. I mean, it was like, in front of all of my people, you're going to say, there's going to be no disclosure, and I've never really believed it. But in May of this year, I was actually saying disclosure is only a couple of days away. I actually thought we were going to get disclosure, because basically what happened was, again, it comes down to this whole thing hinges on the media who buys into the science. Science is saying this is garbage, and the media plays the game. The media, if they had the story, they would run with it because it sells newspapers. It's clear.
Sure.
But because the science is saying this is not for real, they want to be the cool guys and they don't want to ask a stupid question. And it is science that's made it look like a really stupid issue. It's not the government. I don't think it's the government that's coming up. I don't think it's the media that's coming up. It's this scientific thing that if you believe in UFOs, you're crazy. And any scientist that steps over the line will basically lose your tenure, like they tried to do to John Mack. And so nobody really wants to touch the issue. But what happened was, Hillary mentions this. She answers these 3 questions. She's asked about UFOs. And this again was John Podesta who started this. John Podesta said to Lena Dunham, who was doing a report. This is after he did the famous tweet. This is October of 2015. Lena Dunham is doing a video interview of Hillary Clinton. And at the end of the interview, John Podesta, who very rarely tweets about anything, because he wants to have this cult of non-personality, actually makes a tweet and he says, Lena, good interview. Next time, ask her about the aliens. So it was John Podesta that started it. He actually told reporters, ask Hillary about the aliens. And I've argued with people about this, and people think, well, it's just Hillary trying to get the UFO vote, or, that this was a bad move. John Podesta is the first and last word in the Hillary Clinton campaign. He is running the show. Therefore, the way campaigns work, it is swing voters and swing states. You don't care about California. You don't care about Mississippi. You're only worried about the swing states and swing voters. That's how you win the election. And so when John Podesta actually brings up the UFO issue and says to Lena Dunham, ask her about the aliens, I can guarantee you the idea was put in front of a focus group. And the focus group, they put everything in front of a focus group. Even when Hillary gets to go to the bathroom, everything goes in front of the focus group. Because basically what they want to know is, if it's a good issue, if the focus group likes it, if the little monitor goes up on their little things that they're pushing, it's a good issue, and you do it. And you stay away from the bad issues. Anything's bad, you stay away from. And that's how you run the campaign. So this had to have been put in front of a focus group, because John Podesta is the smartest Democrat around. He's the most powerful Democrat. He started their big institute, the Democratic Institute in Washington, D.C., and his whole career is on the line. This is a billion-dollar campaign, and if John Podesta were to put out the UFO issue, and suddenly Hillary drops 20% in the poll, John Podesta would go down in history as the stupidest man ever that lived. So there's no doubt that John Podesta actually put this in front of a focus group, and it came out positive. It was no longer the toxic issue. If you remember back in 2008, Dennis Kucinich was asked the question, did you see a UFO? Did you hear voices that Shirley MacLaine was reporting that he had seen? The minute he said, yes, he saw a UFO, his career was over. I mean, from then on, he was the crazy UFO guy. But since 2008 to 2016, something has changed. And John Podesta showed that by putting this issue out, that it is no longer the toxic issue. You can talk about it and not be considered crazy. And that's exactly what happened. If you see, Hillary has talked about it 3 times. Trump has not picked up on it. Nobody else has picked up on it. Nobody's called her the crazy woman. It's just sort of slid by, and it's just another issue. It's not really an important issue, but it has not been as toxic as it was to Kucinich in 2008. Now, so Hillary makes these 3 comments on UFOs, and then it sort of goes quiet, and then the New York Times on May the 10th of this year, and this is when I thought disclosure was going to happen. On May the 10th, the New York Times does a straight-up piece. No laughing, no little green men in it, and basically talking about Hillary Clinton and the fact that she's talking about this UFO issue that she's going to disclose if she gets in and stuff like that. And it's then when the issue goes viral. Because basically what it comes down to, you don't care if your Fresno paper runs it or if my paper in Winnipeg runs it, that doesn't mean anything. If the New York Times or the Washington Post runs a story, then this is mainline news.
Right.
So the New York Times does this mainline piece, very straight piece, on Hillary and the disclosure issue, and mentions Steve Bassett, mentions the Rockefeller Initiative, mentions the whole thing, and suddenly it goes viral. And then the next day in the White House press room, and I tell people, if you see the whole history of the presidents, you realize that this doesn't happen every day. The last time that a question was asked in a White House press briefing where the press secretary was taking questions, the last time UFOs was brought up was 1997. And that's when Webster Hubbell introduced his book, Friends in High Places. And it was in that book that he said, Bill Clinton sent me out. Said, if I put you over there in justice, I want you to answer 2 questions. Number 1, are there UFOs? And who killed JFK? Because Clinton was interested in UFOs, and he was fascinated with JFK. He modeled himself after JFK. So this question was asked in 1997, and the time before the question was brought up in a White House briefing or question was 1954. When Eisenhower took a question on UFOs. So this is a very rare that somebody is going to stand up in a White House press briefing
Right.
and ask a question of the press secretary. And even in 1997, the question in 1997 was given by Deborah Orrin, who was with the New York Post. New York Post is a Republican newspaper, and she hated the Clintons. She did a lot of Monica Lewinsky things, and she's the one that brought up the question. Did Bill send Webster Hubbell out to look for UFOs? And the press secretary walked around it. So Deborah Orrin came back with a second question. She said, is it true what Webster Hubbell writes in his book? And the press secretary says, we're not going to comment on what private people put in their private books. And she said, in an interview later, she said, I sat there and waited for somebody else to follow up on this. And the rest of the White House press rolled over and played dead. And that's the way it works. You don't want to lose your press, because if you're working for NBC or something and you ask the UFO stupid question,
Right.
and they'll call you back and say, now you're working on court reporting in downtown Missouri or whatever, you know, like you basically, nobody wants the stupid question. You don't want to embarrass your network, so nobody asks the question. But what happens the day the New York Times puts this straight up piece, it goes viral. And there's 2 people. One, I think, was from Yahoo News, and one was from ABC, I think it was. And these are major reporters. And the one says, Hillary Clinton has mentioned UFOs, and this is an important issue. People are interested in this, and I want to ask you, is Barack Obama going to beat Hillary Clinton to the punch? Is he going to disclose? And the press secretary, the only reason that they evaded disclosure was because it wasn't the president. If it had been the president, it would have been her story. But it was the press secretary. And the press secretary says, I don't have a briefing tab in my book for that subject. And it's true, he doesn't have it. He's basically saying, I'm not briefed. And then he actually rats out the president. He says, but the president has indicated in a jokingly manner that his job gives him access to that kind of material. You should ask him about that. And then he says, it'll be interesting. And I'm going, wow, he's actually saying, ask the president. And then a second question comes. Again, he walks around and he says, I don't have clearance for this, and he's able to avoid the question. And then 6 days later, there's an African-American reporter, I can't remember who she worked for. She comes up with a question. And she says, what about Roswell? She said, are extraterrestrials visiting the Earth? Is this classified? This is the whole point. Is this classified? Are you keeping it secret from us? And the press secretary, Ernst, starts taking a drink of water. He moves at the podium and he's taking a drink of water. And she looks at him and she says, look, you're doing the dance. You're getting a drink of water. You're doing the dance. You're trying to figure out what you're going to tell me. She says, you got to tell me. And he says, she says, you're not going to get away with it. She actually said, you're not going to get away with this. And he said, you just keep trying. And that ended it. And I thought, wow, here we go. This is disclosure. I mean, it's a matter of the president walking in and getting asked the question, because that's basically what it comes down to.
Right.
Nobody has asked. I asked Dick Cheney, but nobody has really asked a question. If you get the president, if you get a 4-star general with a unified command, these are the people that are briefed on everything. If you get those people, what you say to them is not, are you interested in UFOs? Or what do you think about UFOs? Because Jimmy Carter has had this question a million times, and he'll walk around every time, yeah, I saw a UFO, I really don't know, and he'll walk around the question. The only question you want to ask the president, and this is the question he would have been asked, is this for real? Were you briefed? The second the president says, yes, I was briefed, but I can't talk about it, it's over. Because you do not brief the president on something that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
That the whole government argument is hinged on one thing. They are saying their official government position is there is no cover-up. We are not withholding any documents,
Right.
and ETs are, as far as we know, are not visiting the Earth. But if the president is suddenly, you identify that the president is briefed on it, then everything changes. Okay, when was the briefing? What were you told in the briefing? And that was the question I asked Dick Cheney. I had the chance, because what happened was in 2000, when Bush won the election, Bush was confronted by a guy named Charles Huffer, who was a private citizen, who was a heavy Republican guy, who was asking Bush and Bush Sr., every time they'd come through Fayetteville, Arkansas, he would ask them the question, are you going to release the UFO stuff? And both of them would say, yeah, we're going to release it. In one of those conversations, and this is all on tape, Bush says, he's walking out with Cheney, and he says to Charles Huffer, we're going to do what you're asking. This is Dick Cheney. He's the Secretary of Defense. He knows. He's a smart man. He knows. It's the first thing he'll do when he gets in the White House. He gets in the White House. There's a woman from Sacramento, California, who actually goes on, or San Francisco, actually goes on a hunger strike for 42 days. She's trying to push this issue. I'm following her. I'm writing articles about her. And so what happens is Dick Cheney goes on a radio talk show on the Diana Rehm Show, which is a public radio station in Washington, D.C. I hear he's going to be on this show. I leave work. I go home. I get on the phone. I know how to get on the line. I'm the first caller in, and I ask him the question that I tell everybody has to ask is, in all your jobs in government, have you ever been briefed on the subject of UFOs? If so, when was it, and what were you told? I don't care what you believe about UFOs. All I know is, did someone walk in your office and swear you to secrecy and brief you? Because the briefing is the truth. The intelligence agencies all work for the President of the United States. That's their only job, is to work for the President of the United States. They provide the best intelligence possible to the President of the United States. If they have briefed him, if the NSA, now it's the NSA does the briefing, but if the NSA does the briefing, the presidential intelligence briefing, when he's president-elect, if he gets that briefing and is told that, this thing's for real. You don't brief the president on something that doesn't exist. So you can see this whole development, that the Hillary Clinton thing is a lot more complex than people think it is. And she is the only one that's really talking. Trump has never talked about UFOs.
Right.
The question was asked in New Hampshire this year of Bernie Sanders, and he basically sloughed it off, like, he didn't care about it. Cruz was asked a question. A lot of them were asked a question, because basically what happens, and we actually have a reporter now in New Hampshire who's into the UFO thing. And New Hampshire is the critical state to be in, because in New Hampshire what happens is, you want to win New Hampshire. So most candidates are in New Hampshire for 6 months or a year. And what you do is you have the town halls. Now they're not doing any town halls. They're not answering any questions. You can see Hillary, she does her interviews, but she doesn't talk. There's no open questions. You don't want anything predictable. You want to shoot exactly with this sort of controlled media. You sit in the bubble, wait for the election to take place. Don't make any mistakes. Don't say anything stupid. But in New Hampshire, everybody's running around. They're doing these town halls and stuff, except for Trump. Trump did it different. Trump had his 757 Boeing. He'd fly into New Hampshire, make a speech, fly back to New York. He would never get on the ground. But the rest of them all had buses. And you would go from town to town to town to town, and you'd meet with people and pretend you're you're everybody's friend and all this sort of stuff. And Hillary and all the rest of them did this. They had their buses. So they would all go through these different newspapers, small town newspapers, get an article, and they would go through the Conway Daily Sun. And this is where the reporter is. And they would all meet with the editorial board, and when they finished, Damon Steer, who was the reporter, who was very interested in UFOs, would ask them, as they were leaving the meeting, what do you think about UFOs? So all the candidates, except for Trump, because Trump never got on the ground, were asked the UFO question. And Hillary was very open. And I maintain whatever you think about Hillary, she has been asked a number of times. She has never evaded the subject. She has never lied about the subject. She's been asked a number of times. She was actually asked in 2008. People say, oh, what about the Rockefeller Initiative? She answered the Rockefeller Initiative question the last time she ran for president. In 2008, a friend of mine who's has a radio show, I can't remember now, his name escapes me, but he was at a fundraiser in Los Angeles, and Rob Simone. And Rob Simone was at this fundraiser, and he asked her about the Rockefeller Initiative. He said, did you get the documents and handle the Rockefeller Initiative? And she said, yes, I was involved in it, and yes, I was telling the president what was going on. So she had no denial about all this kind of stuff at all. And so basically what's happened is that she's been very sort of open about it, but the issue has died because the media has gone back to sleep. They're interested in negative things, they're interested in all sort of stuff, and so the issue has sort of died. But in the middle of May, I actually believe that we were days away from disclosure, because the minute the president says, I was briefed, within 48 hours, this thing's over. It is just going to snowball. You're going to suddenly have 2,000 reporters on the White House lawn. Every major network, like say Washington Post, New York Times, they're able to put 7 or 8 reporters on a story if they believe that this story is for real. And they all have high-level intelligence sources, all high-level military sources. And once the president agrees that he's been briefed, then these people are going to start to open up. Right. And this story is going to start unraveling. And it'll unravel like the Monica Lewinsky story. I believe that if it ever does break, it'll be like the Monica Lewinsky. It's just going to be boom. It's going to be like all over the place. And once the media realizes they've been had, and in these, if you look at these and they're posted, these questions are asked in May, you can see from these reporters, they were deadly serious. The attitude had completely changed. The only thing that saved the White House was that Barack Obama was in the Pacific. He was in Japan at the time, and he didn't get back for a week, and he didn't have a news conference right away. And the media has got a very short attention span. You're running 24-hour news, and it's like, do this story, tomorrow you do this story, tomorrow you do this story, tomorrow you do this story, and the story died out, and they've gone back to sleep again. And so that's basically the Hillary Clinton story, which is actually a very interesting story, and we'll see where it goes. People say, well, maybe I was even asked today, I mean, would Hillary's talking about UFO reignite her campaign and stuff? And I said no, because they're really not interested in that kind of stuff. It's a negative campaign now. Both of them are into this negative campaigning thing, and she's got major issues that, like, for example, free tuition. And this ain't going anywhere. So free tuition ain't going anywhere. Nobody's caring about that. Nobody cares about UFOs. It's this sort of negative thing. But it's a very interesting sort of story and a big development, different than I've been in it for 41 years, since 1975. Completely different world than it was in 1975.
Yeah,
I think we're sort of close, that even in the consciousness has risen to the point where at least the people out there believe, yeah, this thing's probably for real.
Now, you mentioned Rockefeller. In 1995, she was caught walking with him, and she had that book, Are We Alone, with him. Okay. Obviously back then she was interested in UFOs. Just with the book that she was carrying, that caught my attention right off the bat. Obviously we've heard, President Clinton with Jimmy Kimmel, Obama, Clinton, but they're always asked the same questions over and over and over again. They're never really, actually President Clinton, Bill, said what you said, that if there was aliens, then he wasn't told. I remember him saying that.
But if you take a look, I've written about that, I think on my blog site. Well, it's in the book for sure. But I talk about this, the difference with the Kimmel. Kimmels are very important interviews, but with the Kimmel interviews, you also have to watch the Ben Hansen reviews of these. Ben Hansen was with Fact or Fake, and he did reviews of the 2 Kimmel interviews, one with Clinton, one with Obama, and he also did a review of Barack Obama on the Ellen Show, where he has the little 6-year-old kid who's an expert on the president, and she asks him the UFO question. If you look at that, you can see this whole difference between, are they telling the truth or aren't they telling the truth? Right. So Bill Clinton has said, he goes up and he does this all the time. I realized, with the Roswell anniversary in 1997, there was going to be, as he said, there was going to be a gazillion questions. So I went and I got all the Roswell documents, and I determined that there really was no crash and I couldn't get anything. Well, you can't have it both ways. You can't say I got all the Roswell documents and I read them, and then say I didn't get anything. You either have the documents or you don't have the documents.
No kidding,
and
yeah.
what Ben Hanson's review showed was that he was being deceptive.
Yep.
That Bill Clinton was actually making up the story. And this is where I've changed my opinion. I now say absolutely for sure the president knows. And what is protecting them is that the 99.9% of the media think it's a joke. They do not think the president's been briefed. And that's why I said, if they suddenly realize that the president is the Wizard of Oz, the president is the guy running the cover-up. There's nobody else. It's the president. If you take a look at the MJ-12 documents, which I've written about in past books, the MJ-12 documents was an executive order. All intelligence is run to the president. All the stuff goes, they only have one job. The NSA and CIA is to report to the president. You have the situation where all security, and people don't realize, I didn't realize this. People think that security is run by law. It's not run by law. It's run by executive order.
Yep.
The president of the United States is running the security.
Mm-hmm.
So all the top secret, it was started in 1940 by Roosevelt. He started, the first one was secret, confidential. Truman added top secret. Eisenhower added national security to keep things secret. The presidents are in charge of, anybody who's got a security clearance is responsible to the president. He makes up the rules. The president doesn't even have a security clearance. The president can see whatever he wants. He doesn't have a security clearance. And so this idea that the CIA and these people have some sort of higher security than the president is absolute nonsense. The president is the one running the cover-up. He's the one that makes the security. He can declassify everything. And I gave examples in the book. Back in the Clinton administration, Clinton's saying, I don't know what's going on. He tells Kimmel, I tried to figure out what's going on. I'm embarrassed. I couldn't figure out what's going on. I show examples. And Podesta was behind this. As I said in this original tweet, 2015, he says, once again, my biggest disappointment is not getting the disclosure. He was the chief of staff for Bill Clinton. And he tried to get Bill Clinton to disclose the UFO issue, and Bill Clinton, for whatever reason, decided he's not going to do it. Bill Clinton in 1995, and this is a fact, Podesta helped him draft this because Podesta is what's called a Madison man. Podesta's only interest is in open government. And what Podesta says is that unless the people know what is going on in government, you can't vote. If you don't know what the government's doing, your vote is totally useless. You have to have open government in order for people to make the proper decision of who to vote for. And so in 1995, Podesta helps Bill Clinton draft an executive order. Everything's done by executive order. In the executive order, Bill Clinton puts out, and he said, if the document is over 25 years, it has to be declassified unless it falls under 6 exemptions. Otherwise, you have to declassify the document. And what they were trying to do is they were trying to force out the UFO documents and a lot of other stuff. Yeah. What happened, and this is an actual fact, from that one executive order from Bill Clinton, over 1 billion pages in the next 10 years were declassified. In 1994, with one stroke of a pen, and you can do this with an executive order, you sign one piece of paper. 1994, 15% of all the material in the National Archives was declassified with one stroke of a pen. Wow. They just said that all the World War II documents are coming out, they had to declassify them all. The president is in charge of security. In 1996, Bill Clinton, with a stroke of a pen, declassified all the satellite photographs, the Corona, all these long-time 60s and 70s programs on satellite photographs of the Russians and all. That was all declassified. So the president can declassify, but there's been an issue here as to why they don't. Now, whatever the issue is, they've just decided that they can't do it. And the only thing that saves the president of the United States is everybody thinks the president isn't running the thing. So we got these stories that the government actually puts out. The evil cabal. It's like David Rockefeller and his buddies from Europe are running the show, right. or the Wizard of Oz. This is the one I always like to use. And when I first used this in an article, Hillary Clinton actually came out days later and called Trump when he came out. Remember when he came out on his for his speech at the convention, and they had the smoke going and stuff, and she
Oh,
call them the
yeah.
Wizard of Oz, and I'm going, holy cows! I mean, she's actually reading what I've done, eh? And so this is what these stories, the counterintelligence stories are put out, is that the Wizard of Oz is running the UFO cover-up. There's this evil dark Kabbalist running the UFO cover-up, and the reason that works is because you can't interview the Wizard of Oz. It's a dead end road. But if you know the president is running the cover-up, even I know the president's phone number. I do know the president's phone number. I can phone him.
What is it?
We know where he lives. We know exactly when his press conference is,
That's true.
and it's over.
Right.
If the media realizes that the president has been briefed on the subject, it'll unravel very fast. So that's basically what it comes down. So you have these interviews that you're mentioning. You have Bill Clinton goes on there and he says, I don't know, I didn't know what was going on and stuff like that. And then you have Barack Obama. And if you take a look at the Barack Obama interview with Kimmel, look at the very beginning. When Kimmel says to him, because what happened was Ben Hansen does this review and basically says Bill Clinton's being deceptive. So when Barack Obama comes on, you watch the very beginning of the interview, Kimmel says to him, you realize they're going to be watching whatever you do. They're going to watch you swallow. They're going to watch you, what you're saying.
Right.
And that's referring to this Ben Hansen review that they caught Clinton lying. So he says, yeah, I know. Then he starts asking the question. And if you take a look at the review that was done by Ben Hansen of the Obama interview, he's answering the questions, and then they come to the ultimate question. This is the one. Bill Clinton says, I went in, I looked, I couldn't find anything. I'm all embarrassed. I couldn't figure out anything. It's the Wizard of Oz is running the thing. I have no control. I'm, as he said in Hong Kong, he said, I'm probably not the first president that they've lied to or the bureaucrats have tried to wait out. That's the cover story. That's what the president has to put out. So Barack Obama is asked the question, okay, Bill was on the show. He says, if I was the president, if I put my hand on the Bible, it would still be hot, and I'd be running to the White House to find out what's going on with the UFO thing. And Bill was on my show, and Bill said he couldn't find anything. So what about you? What happened when you looked? And at that moment, if you look at the reviews done by Ben Hansen, it's high-def TV. And if you remember when Barack Obama first came in, they had this thing, he was unpatriotic because he would never wear an American flag pin. He wears it all the time now. He wears the flag pin. And it was high-def TV, and they could actually pick up his breathing. And they could see that flag pin going back up and down. And when he's asked that question, what did you do? What did you find when you got to the White House? They looked, and he was breathing 42 times a minute. He was hyperventilating. This is a guy that's been president for 7 years. He's answered a lot of tough questions. He's been in a lot of difficult positions. He was scared. He was scared. And what did he say? Did he say, no, I didn't find anything? He said, I can't reveal anything.
Right.
That's the true answer. And Barack Obama has never lied about this. Barack Obama has walked around it, but he has never lied. And that's when he said the aliens are controlling it. This is true too. The aliens have an influence on how this sort of thing works. And Barack Obama has made a number of statements, and every one of them has been basically true. He's not walked around it. So that's why in the last couple of days, when he brings up the aliens again, to me that's very significant. When he actually says, yeah, I probably shouldn't have mentioned the aliens, and he laughs about it, but none of the media picks up on it, so it just sort of slides along. And then you have Hillary. So Hillary, as I said, Hillary has never lied about the issue. Hillary has been very open about the issue. So when she goes on the Kimmel show, he does the same thing. He says, okay, you had your husband on here, I had Barack on here, I had your husband on here. If I was the president, my hand would still be warm from being on the Bible. I'd be running to the White House to find out what they're doing with the UFO thing. And I had your husband on here. And he said he couldn't find anything. So what about you? And Hillary starts right away, and the audience starts to laugh, and she has to stop. But she has her answer ready, and you can see she's very authoritative. She is not she's not like Bill Clinton. Well, and he's hemming and hawing. Well, and before he answers his question, she's very direct. She says, "I'm going to do it again." Very direct, like she knows what she's going to do. And this is the point. And even Podesta had said in an interview with the Las Vegas, with KLS TV, the news media that broke the Area 51 story, in that one she said Hillary has to take a look at the material and disclose as much as she can. That's basically telling us how it works. Because she has no security clearance, she will have the material in front of her, and she takes a look at it, and she discloses what she can. And then what Hillary says, I'm not sure whether it was to Kimmel, but she actually says, And everybody misses this little line. She's talking about the UFO. She says, if I can get agreement, I'm going to disclose as much as I can. The part, if I can get agreement, is the most important words that's ever been spoken, which means that she knows what the policy is. She knows how it works, and she knows that when she gets there will be a vote. And this, I think, is what's happened. There will be a vote, and I don't know whether it's MJ-12 people that are voting or whether it's the CIA, NSA, the Director of National Intelligence, or all these people.
And the
that
aliens.
if she can get the vote, then they will disclose. And the vote has always gone bad. So the vote was, say, if it was MJ-12, it was 12-0, and then it was 10-2, and then it was 8-4. And now the vote, I think, is the other way. And that's why John Podesta brought it up, and the issue was to disclose. And the government, I've written books where I actually talk about the government is disclosing this thing. They're just controlling the classified material. So what they do is they use a bad witness, and they put material out through a bad witness, and the bad witness goes down with the story, but everybody realizes what's going on. So the Area 51 story is a prime example. They use Bob Lazar, who's a bad witness. He claims he's got 2 master's degrees. He doesn't. They actually take him, they show him all this kind of stuff, and they realize that when he comes out, when the story finally starts to break, and he's going to give it to John Lear, who's even a worse witness. I mean, John Lear is talking about underground aliens and shootouts and souls on the moon and just crazy stuff. So what they want is they want John Lear to take the story, and everybody will say, it's just John Lear, don't worry about it. John Lear's crazy, man. But the story of Area 51 and the aliens gets out, and everybody, so that's how they've been leaking this kind of stuff. And yet you protect it, the whole thing. And so now I think the vote has gone the other way, that they've actually decided they have to get this thing out. And I've got 3 different sources. You have this guy, Tom DeLonge.
Right.
He claims he's got 10 witnesses. And this is the same story. This is the same story that's gone all the time. Bill Moore in the 1980s. I was good friends with Bill Moore. Bill Moore never lied. I knew Bill Moore very well. Bill Moore just had ego, the same as Tom DeLonge has ego, the same as Stephen Greer has ego. They can use these people, not use them, but manage them. Right. If you want to get the story out, you put them through them, you give them a couple bad witnesses, a couple good witnesses, and you take them and you let them tell the story, and then Stephen Greer will sink the ship, and Tom DeLonge will sink the ship, and the stories get out, and so Tom DeLonge says he's got 10 witnesses. I have one contactee that I've known, fairly major contactee, who's been contacted, I believe, by the White House, NASA. He's a guy that everybody realizes this guy is in contact with something, and he's had all these high-level people dealing with him. He's told me that his, and I've talked to, let's see, in that group I've talked to 1, 2, 3, 4 people out of 7 in this second group with this experiencer. They're all telling the same story. There's a high-level CIA person that's involved, that's also involved with Tom DeLonge. So it's the same thing. They're leaking it to this group. And the only problem with the experiencer, I asked him, I said, well, who's the messenger? You've got this stuff, and this stuff is coming out. I said, well, you got this message, who's the messenger? Like Tom DeLonge, you know who the messenger is. Stephen Greer, you know who the messenger is. But there's no, in this third group, there is no messenger. So you have these groups where there are disclosure movements going on now to get this material out. And I believe it's because the vote has changed. They just are, as I've been told by the people that I've talked to, they're just in a very difficult position. People in government aren't evil. People in government, and I say, because I wrote an article, it's on my website, presidentialufo.com. I wrote an article called, it used to be called The 64 Reasons They Decided Not to Tell You the Truth. I think it's called The Reasons They Decided Not to Tell You the Truth. It's in the article section, and I go through 65 reasons why they've decided they can't release it. National security, lead weapon, you don't want to give it to the Russians, you don't want to give it to Al-Qaeda, all these different reasons. So basically what I say is the people in government are not evil. If I gave you the briefing, you do exactly what they're doing. Absolutely. Because 7 Republican administrations have dealt with this thing. 8 Republican or Democratic administrations have dealt with this thing, and they've all done exactly the same thing. Everybody. And it's because they're in a very difficult position. You got this thing. You got this technology. Are you going to give it to Al-Qaeda? Is Al-Qaeda going to try to save the world from global warming, or are they going to try to kill Americans? Al-Qaeda is going to use it for weapons. Yeah. So this is where, if you're a military guy and you're there to protect the United States of America, you look at it differently than, okay, I want some free energy so I can run my SUV for free. I mean, it's a different ball game of the way they look at it. And I say that if I give anybody the briefing, they would do exactly the same thing. They would say, okay, drill another oil well. Let's delay it for 5 years, because what they would tell you in a briefing is the longer you delay this thing, the more answers we're going to get. We don't have all the answers. If you delay it, if the aliens turn out to be evil, well, then we can fight them off if we have more time to develop the technology, figure out what they're doing, whether they're up to, and that sort of stuff. And so the people in government aren't evil. They're just people who have a real mess on their hands and don't really know what to do. They have this technology thing. And the main thing that most people disregard, that I disregarded until February of 2012, is the importance of consciousness in this whole thing. As people know, I did the government documents. I got all the famous documents, the Rockefeller Initiative documents. I filed the 100 FOIs at the Clinton White House. I spent my whole career on documents and on nuts and bolts type stuff. And when I had this download of consciousness, I suddenly changed. And one of the key things I learned about consciousness was the fact that the way they fly the craft is through consciousness. That's how they do it. They use the mind. The craft is actually alive. So this changes everything. I refer, in part of my download was a document from the Canadian government in November of 1950. And in that document, it said, we've gone to the Americans, we've talked to American officials, we asked them the question, what's the deal with flying saucers? And American officials told us the following: flying saucers exist. And this is in a top secret Canadian government document that the Canadian government does not deny. It's in the archives. Anybody can go look at it. Flying saucers exist. It's the most highly classified subject in the United States. It's of tremendous significance to the Americans. And there's a small group headed by Dr. Vannevar Bush who are trying to figure out the modus operandi of these objects. And it said, we were also told by American officials, and this is the most important part that I didn't realize until 2012, we were also told by American officials that other things might be associated with the flying saucers, such as mental phenomena. The Americans aren't doing very well because they said, if we're working on the problem in Canada, they're willing to exchange credentials with us and talk through classified channels. The key to that is, in 1950, if you've been in a long time, you know, in 1950, nobody was talking to aliens. Now we got abductees running and saying, oh, there's telepathically, the aliens are talking to us. There was no abductees in 1950 talking. The first experiencers, Adamski and Williamson, would not come forward until a couple of days after the detonation of the hydrogen bomb in 1952. There was nobody claiming to be talking to aliens. So how did the Americans know to tell the Canadians in November of 1950 that mental phenomena was part of the UFO the problem? Because all there was these objects flying around in the sky. So how did they know about the mental phenomena? And the key is, we now know through enough witnesses at Roswell, the original story was there was 4 dead aliens. The major story now is there was 3 dead ones and 1 live alien. So when they picked up the live alien, it was talking in their heads, and they went, whoa! And that, to me, people always disregard this. This is one of the key reasons that this thing is being classified. Because if you can develop that technology, you can go to Putin and say, this is God. We want you to listen to the United States of America.
Yep.
I mean, it's tremendous technology. You can go to Al-Qaeda and make them think they talk to God. This is what it all comes down to. It's this technology. Do you want to give mind technology? And we know aliens are telepathic. We know this for a fact that's the telepathy is taking place. If you've got that technology, you have the ability to walk into a speech from a foreign leader and know what he's thinking. This is one of the big drawbacks of making this disclosure, is if suddenly politicians can no longer lie, because everybody can go into the room and know when they're lying and when they're not lying. And so this mental telepathy thing, this ability to read people's minds and just talk in people's heads, is very, very important. And that's kind of the stuff that people remember. So what it comes down to is this highly technological, this kind of stuff where they realize, but they know they have to get the story out. They have to sort of release the story and acclimatize people. And I've stated, and I wrote one book, UFOs, Area 51, and Government Informants, where the whole book talks about this thing. All these efforts they did through the 70s, 80s. We know that they used Disney in the 1950s to put out movies, and they were given help. And my good friend Bob Emenegger, I remember him, this is 1972, that under Nixon's approval, there was a letter, and he denies to some people that this letter, but Linda Moulton Howe told me she saw the letter. He showed her the letter that Richard Nixon had thank you for your work and your discretion on the project we worked on. This was a documentary. It was done called UFOs Past, Present, and Future. There was a book written 1979. It was a remake of the movie or documentary called UFOs That Has Begun. Rod Serling was narrating it. All sorts of people. Hynek is in the documentary. Vallet's in the documentary. And he tells a story that he didn't believe in UFOs. He still has no interest in UFOs. He had no interest in UFOs. His friend is Alan Sandler, who's an intelligence guy. Alan Sandler sets up this thing. He says, we're supposed to go to Norton Air Force Base. They want to talk to us about making some documentaries. It's 1973. It's near the end of the Nixon administration, before the Watergate scandal breaks out. The military's in bad position because of the Vietnam War. It's seen bad. So what the security manager, Paul Chartle, tells Alan Sandler and Bob Emenegger is, we want you to make these documentaries to make the U.S. military look better. 3D holography, working with dolphins, dogs, all this sort of stuff. 8 documentaries. And then he says, and we also want you to do another documentary on UFOs, but we want you to hide it under these other documentaries. And Bob went, what? UFOs? I mean, this is for real? And then Chartle says, what would you say if I told you that in May of 1970, we filmed from 3 different vantage points, two on the ground and 1 in a helicopter, the landing of an alien craft at Holloman Air Force Base, and the aliens got out, and we got the whole thing on film. And Bob's going, wow, because he used to tell his wife's very much into UFOs, and she used to read this stuff, and he'd say, Margaret, quit reading that alien baby shit. It's just, you're terrible. And then she would always respond, even when I was at the house, she would respond, shut up, Bob. You don't read anything. And then he would just, okay, he'd be quiet. He's not interested in UFOs, but he got dragged into this thing. And they tell the story. He's told the story by Art Lundahl, who's the guy who actually briefs the president of the United States on UFOs. He briefed Kennedy, he briefed Johnson, he briefed Nixon. And he is brought in, and he tells a story about this channeling of an alien at the National Photographic Interpretation Center, the head building at the CIA in Washington, where they analyzed all the U-2 and SR-71 photographs. And that was confirmed by the Canadians, who are dealing with the same alien. The alien's name was Alpha. So they get told this story, they put it in the documentary, and then Bob says to Art Lundahl, and this is the problem with officials, is you can tell the story, but then he said to Art Lundahl, can you go on camera? And Art Lundahl says, you don't understand. And he said, what do you mean? I'm on duty. I'm not going on camera. So they tell the story, but he's not, there's no official thing. You sort of hear where it comes from. Jacques Vallée sent me a handwritten copy of the CIA memo that came out that tells the whole story, but you don't have any direct evidence to nail it down. But this stuff got out. This whole story of the Holloman Air Force Base landing, and the fact that the president is briefed on this, that there is a 15-minute color film that presidents are shown this Holloman Air Force Base landing. Wow. And I have a friend who contacted me and he said, Grant, I need Carter's phone number. And I said, Carter's phone number? How would I have Carter's phone number? I'm a Canadian. And he said, I'm looking for Carter. And he said, well, what are you looking for Carter for? And he said, I just talked to Bush Sr. and I talked to Ford. And he had an intelligence background. There's this agency, former intelligence officer or something, and they're all members of this group. So he uses this association to go and talk to these 2 former presidents. And he asked them about the Holloman Air Force Base film, because Bob Emenegger had talked about the film, and I was working on the film, so they came to me. I'm in the middle of this film, thinking about the film, and these high-level scientific people are trying to find the film. Christopher Dodd, the congressman, actually said it went into a Navy sink. He filed an FOIA. He couldn't get it, but he was trying to file an FOIA to get this film. Where was this Holloman Air Force Base film? So my source, who's trying to get the Carter phone number for me, he says, I talked to Ford, and I said, did you see the Holloman Air Force Base film during your briefing? And Ford said, yes, I saw it. And he said, well, when was the briefing? And Ford said, I'm not going to tell you when the briefing was. Don't even go there. And that's the whole thing, is if you confirm the briefing, you confirm the date, everything unravels. So he said, I'm not even going to go there. Don't bring it up. But he confirmed, yes, I was shown the film. And so he asked him, was it a psychological film? Was it something they made just to play with the minds of these people? Was it an A-12, which was one of the high-level guys was claiming this is what it was? And they said, no, it wasn't. but he wouldn't confirm exactly what it was. Then he went to Bush Sr., and Bush Sr. said, yes, I saw it, but I didn't see it in my presidential briefing. I saw it as CIA director. So he confirmed it. And then there's a Secret Service agent.
Wow.
If you know the stories, there's a Secret Service agent in Jimmy Carter who's claiming that he was in the briefing and that he was shown a 15-minute color film of a landing of a UFO, which sounds like the same thing. So you can see these things, that this seems to confirm that this is part of the presidential briefing. And it all fits in. To me, it all makes now great deal of sense. And we just sit there and wait for some noble reporter to actually ask Obama, because Obama could slip. Obama will not lie. He'll try to walk around it, but if he's caught off guard, the same as when I caught Dick Cheney off guard, I said, Mr. Cheney, in all your jobs in government, have you ever been briefed on the subject of UFOs? If so, when was it, and what were you told? And I can guarantee you he'd never heard a UFO question. And he was caught off guard. And he said, if I had been briefed on that subject, it would probably be classified, and I wouldn't be talking about it. That is the answer. That is exactly how it works. It's classified. They can't talk about it. It's, in fact, it's more than classified. It's an unacknowledged special access program. So not only is it classified, they can't talk about it, and they can't even acknowledge that there's a program. Because if they say, yes, there's a program, but I can't talk about it, you've just confirmed it. And all that does is lead to the reporter to ask more questions. So they can't even, so if the president has to lie, if he said, is there a program, he has to say, no, there's no program, and deny it, because it's unacknowledged. You're not allowed to acknowledge it.
My question to Grant is, if disclosure happens, don't you think that technology, if there are aliens, the technology is going to be so advanced that medical technology as well, don't you think that our economy would crumble if this technology came out today? Because, I mean, who's in charge of all this? The Bilderbergs, the Rockefellers? I just can't see them releasing this, because if there was cure for cancer and the aliens had it, and let's say my father died last month, and if I would have known about this, my father would have survived, I would be so ticked off that why didn't they release this years and years and years ago? I just can't see them. I just cannot see disclosure happening, because it would mess up the world, don't you think?
Exactly. That's where when I write this article, 64 reasons, that's one of the key reasons, is you can say to the president, Mr. President, we're not sure. The stock market may melt down. Now, we don't know for sure, Mr. President, but there is a chance this will happen. And when they shut the stock market down with 9/11, they shut the stock market for 3 days or 4 days, whatever it was.
Right.
The only reason they could reopen the stock market is because they said, if anybody stands up on a plane and tries to hijack that plane, we're going to have marshals on the plane and we are going to shoot them. And everybody went, oh, okay, they've got it under control. There's something they can do. There's nothing they can do about this. So if the stock market, this is one of the key ones, if the stock market starts to melt down, and people say, well, people won't panic. Doesn't matter. All you need is 10 people with millions of dollars of oil shares to start selling.
Right.
Everybody's going to start selling.
Yep.
And you get these panics. It doesn't take many people to start a market rally.
Right.
And if it starts going down, and suddenly oil shares are at $100 and they're going to open at $5 and head for zero. I mean, how do you reopen the stock market? How do you turn around and say we have control of the situation? Because they do not have control of the situation. Right. The aliens are running the show.
Right.
The aliens are part of the cover-up.
Wow.
They don't want this thing out because they realize people aren't ready for it. We're still in a world where we believe in separation. The number one message of aliens is unity, and that is not what's happening in the world today. It's separation. It's the whites versus the blacks versus the Mexicans versus the immigrants versus the Syrians, and it's this division. It's you versus me, good versus bad stuff, and that is exactly the opposite message of the aliens. So the aliens really don't want this out. But that's you bring up an important point where you even have, and there's another article that I was ready to put out, which actually talks about this alien cure for cancer, where there's, I don't know if you're familiar with the Bankston cure, which is a method that I was taught, and it's supposed to be the best cure for cancer, and it's an energy healing thing, which uses a technology called rapid image cycling, and where you can spin thousands of images a second in your head. I went for the training. I sort of knew how to do it. I went for the training in Chicago, and I learned how they do this kind of stuff. The weird thing about it is the guy that taught Bankston, who's this thing is named after, later on claimed that he was an alien. Now, the key to that is there's a woman, I don't know if you've ever interviewed her, fantastic interview if you ever get her, her name is Susie Hansen. She's an experiencer out of New Zealand. So she has very clear recollection of most of her experiences, what the aliens' message is, what they're doing, how they dealt with her, and this sort of thing. She tells a story, I think it's February of 2010. I just about fell off my chair when I heard this story. So you can remember, they got this image, and it's like, who would think that the way you cure cancer is to sit down and learn how to spin a couple thousand images a second in your head? Because it makes no sense. It's like, well, by the time you learn to do it, it's like, okay, we'll try this for 5 minutes. This is stupid. You don't know it's going to work until you actually learn how to do the technique, and then you can suddenly cure people of cancer. And they claim that they can, the more aggressive the cancer, the better. So anyway, she's telling this story, February 2010. She's taken by the aliens with 250 people to an underground facility. And she said, we're sitting in this facility, and they're showing, people will show the screen, these environmental images. And she said, it starts, boom, 1 image, 2 images, faster, faster. She says, we're sitting there, and the people are watching, and the alien has left the stage, and they're going faster and faster. And she says, at one point, there's hundreds of images a second flashing on the screen, and they had taught us how to do it. And she said the emotion in the room, people were crying, and they were upset, and just this emotion and stuff. And the alien came out, and he put his hand like this and calmed everybody down. And she said the images were impressed in their mind. They remembered the images, and it affected them, even though they were able to be calmed down. And this is like, I'm going, this is rapid image cycling. It's exactly the same thing. And so I'm coming up with this article that shows a number of techniques that we have that use this bizarre rapid image cycling thing that show that this is something that the aliens have taught people to do. So the aliens have this kind of technology. I have 2 very clear experiences. There's one was, I don't know if you've ever interviewed her, is Suzanne Chancellor. She was telling the story, 9 years old, she's taken to the aliens, and the aliens talk to her, and they say, the cure to cancer is something you use every day. And she said to them, well, is it like toothpaste? Or she's trying to guess as a 9-year-old. And they really wouldn't say, they just said, no, it's something you use every day. And she said at that moment, she said she's on the ship, and suddenly a 3D holographic equation starts coming out. And she said it was so big, you could actually, it was 3D holographic, you could walk around this thing, and they basically told her this is a cure to cancer. So she tells this story, I hear this story, and then I hear a guy out of Las Vegas, now his name's going to escape me, he wrote a book called The Children of the Greys. And he talks, and he's not a friend of the Greys. He's on the ship with the Greys. He tells a story about how his girlfriend's child was taken. He was very upset, and then at 2 years old, they bring this kid to him, and he says, not my kid. And then suddenly he feels a bond, and then he's upset because they take the kid back again. And there's this bonding thing that people will talk about. There's one incident where you meet your kid.
Right.
So he's very angry at the aliens, and he says to the aliens, let me ask you a question. What's your concept of God? And they give the oneness message. They say, we are one with the one who is all. And Brett Oldham is the guy's name. So Brett says, I was so shocked. I couldn't believe how profound this answer was. We are one with the one who is all. And he said, after he said that, suddenly this 3D holographic image, or they said to him, you have a disease on your planet called cancer. And he said, yes, we do. And this 3D holographic image of an equation suddenly comes out of the wall. And it's exactly what Suzanne Chancellor's talking about. And it's the cure to cancer thing. And he says, he says to them, he says, really? And he's all this terrible time, his horrible experience with the Greys. He said, oh, it's all been worth it. Give me a piece of paper. I got to write this down. And they said, no, you can't write it down. You have to remember it. He said, I can't remember it. I'm not good at math. I can't remember. Give me a piece of paper. They said, no, you have to write it. You have to remember it. And he gets more and more upset. And they say, no. And he said he got so upset, they had to take him out of the room. So here you have these 2 people who are telling basically the same story about being shown this 3. So I actually said, okay, you've got a few times in life where you can actually make a difference. I said, I will put up the money. I will bring in Yvonne Smith, into Las Vegas. I will fly everybody into Las Vegas. We will do regressions, and I don't really care what it is. And they were sort of scared about what was going to come out. I said, I really don't care. I'm paying for this. I'm going to do one thing. We're going to get regressed. We're going to go to the equation. What's the equation? And I want to put the two equations together to see whether they match.
Absolutely.
Now, in the end, they both sort of hesitated because they were afraid of all this other stuff that was going to come out, and it never happened. But these are the kind of things that show that the aliens actually have this kind of stuff. Numerous people have been cured. Chris Bledsoe, famous experiencer, tells about Crohn's. He has this experience on Elvis Presley's birthday, 2007, with 3 contractors. He's a $20 million a year businessman. He has this experience. He's taking 14 prescription drugs a day. He sells his $20 million business because he's going to die. He's so sick with Crohn's disease. He's in hospital. He's in bed for a year, has a near-death experience and stuff. He has this experience where he's abducted in 2007. He never takes a pill for Crohn's ever since. It's been now like 10 years. And he's never taken a pill. And Crohn's is incurable.
Yeah.
And he's never taken a pill. So you have these things that show that there's this technology. So the government, that's the thing, is the government, same with cattle mutilations, same with abductions. The government's faced with a position where, you knew they were abducting people? And you have this thing about the evil aliens. I don't believe in evil aliens, but people do. And they say, well, these evil aliens are abducting people. And you sat back and you didn't do anything? And then you have the people, 10,000 cattle. Cattle doesn't happen anymore. We don't have cattle mutilations in the United States anymore. But in the 70s, it was happening big time. 80s, the aliens are doing these patterns. So in the 70s, 80s, they were doing this cattle mutilation to give the message to the military, we know what you're doing. It's downwind of the nuclear power plants and stuff. And yes, we know what's going on here. And the military picked up. Nobody else picked up. There's 10,000 cattle mutilations. So suddenly you say, okay, we know that the aliens are here and we've known for forever. You got like 10,000 cattle people suing you that you knew about these cattle mutilations and you didn't do anything. I mean, it's just like the problems. If you're the president, you go like, whoa, man, I want to go down as the guy that dropped unemployment. I want to be a good guy. Let this go to the next administration. I don't want anything to do with this. And you can start to understand it's not evil people that are covering it up. It's people up there who have no idea and do not want to be the one whose ox is going to get gored. This is a horrible situation that you're stuck with. Is how do you get it out without the whole house of cards falling down?
Wow.
And so you're very right. This is a very difficult situation the government's in.
So do you think? I think the only way that it's going to happen is if a alien spacecraft to land on the White House lawn for the first time and come out and pretty much say, "Hey, we're here. We're here to help you," and people might just step back and say, "Cool." Because people have been conditioned for this for years in movies, on TV. Independence Day, well, not Independence Day, that's a bad example right there. But I believe, like you said, Disney, I believe Hollywood knows what's really happening. And they're feeding it to us little by little by little. So when it does happen, we're not going to freak out. Big time.
Exactly. But the problem still does remain of this. There's just so many things that can go wrong. And the aliens are part of the cover-up. That is a key part as well. That you get. I have a group in Winnipeg, and I bring people in by Skype, and I'm going to do one where I'm going to broadcast it on Zoom where people can watch. And one of the interviews I suggest, if you haven't interviewed her, is Shirley Wild. And Shirley Wild is like Suzanne Hansen, who has very great recollection of all the things that have happened to her. And the aliens actually sort of gave her a book where they actually wrote the book for her. She tells her story, and she tells about this story that majority of experiencers will talk about, is this devastation of the earth. She's shown this at 8 years old. This is back in the 1950s. She has shown a huge wave coming over the west coast of the United States. And I actually talked to one of the, I don't want to say who it is, because she swore me to secrecy, one of the key experiencers. You would go like, wow, if I told you who it was. She said, I just want to let you know I saw the wave as well. Comes over the west coast of the United States. And Tina Marie, who runs a radio network in Las Vegas, has seen this devastation. She said she believed it was a flood. She said that she was shown, she believed she could walk around in this devastation. She could taste, she could smell. She said it was absolutely horrible. And she claimed there was 1 billion people that had died. And she said the aliens told her, this is what it may take for you people to get the message. The message is oneness. We don't have oneness, and I think the aliens are holding back on this thing. And going back to Shirley Wild tells a story at 8 years old. She's shown this devastation of the earth, and that's when she starts crying. And she says, I'm just a little girl. why are you showing this? She's in outer space watching this wave as it takes out the west coast of the United States. Why are you here? Why are you showing me this? And she's, why don't you go to the president? Why don't you tell somebody who can actually do something? And the alien says to her, surely it all starts with one. And I believe that's how the aliens are working. They're working for one. They're working from the bottom up. And it's this person tells that person, and consciousness rises through people. And it's we're almost like the gays of the 1960s, where the groups are getting a little bit bigger, the experiencer groups, and these are the key people you got to talk to, because you cannot tell by anything by watching stuff fly around in the sky. That tells you nothing. It just tells you something's going on. It's the people who are actually interacting with whatever's behind this phenomena are the people you got to talk to. And they all seem to be saying the same sort of thing, is that the aliens are working through them, and that there may be this catastrophic situation happening, that they are raising consciousness through other people, and you can see consciousness is rising, that we are getting to a point. Now, I don't know when it breaks, but it's a dilemma. But the aliens are part of the cover-up. They do not want this out. They are going gradually through people, because it's almost the same as the media. You'll hear these people who are saying, I've got this disclosure in the government, like Tom DeLonge, for example. They say, okay, the government's telling me this stuff, and I'm here to tell the people. No, that's not how it works. Whether it's the aliens or whether it's the government, if you want disclosure, if you really want it out, you go to the New York Times and you go to the Washington Post and you say, I'm here to give you disclosure. What do you want? I'll give you photographs, I'll give you documents, and they sit there and give the New York Times and Washington Post whatever. You do not go through people, secondary people, through the bottom. So they're both using the same technique. They're using this gradual disclosure thing where they're building up the idea. But as I said, even if you get this disclosure thing, that the aliens realize we're so far away from the idea of oneness. We're into this separation, the fighting, all this kind of stuff, that we really aren't ready yet, that we think we're ready. And maybe you and I and people in the UFO community, but we're a very small percentage of the population. So we may be ready, but the vast majority of people are still into the 9 to 5, dog eat dog, whoever, rape, pillage, steal, whoever's got the most toys when they die wins, this kind of mentality. You've got all these enemies around the world, and they hate us and we hate them, and the aliens aren't really working into that kind of thing, that they are as much of the cover-up as the government.
Do you think there's more than one type of aliens?
I think there are probably as many. Well, this gets I've had a lot of new developments in the last couple of years. Number one, I think there are probably as many as there are people. There are just billions, trillions, whatever. And number two, I no longer think it's alien. If you talk to Shirley Wild, and I'm going to talk when I do my interview, I know what she said, and the question I always ask experiencers, and I asked Betty Andreasen and her husband, Bob Luca. They both had their first experience in 1946. And I say, Betty, you're a little 6-year-old girl at the time. You're now like 80 years old. And you talk to a number of people, will talk about they had the alien before they were born. A number of people say, yeah, that same alien was there. I say to them, and I ask every experiencer I have on my Skype thing with my group, the first Tuesday of every month. And I say, let me ask you a question. Betty, 1946, when you saw that alien and when you see him now, did he ever get any older? Not a single experiencer has ever said anything different. They all say the same thing. Nope, never got a day older. But aliens live a long time. That's what they do. Aliens don't, and so the question is it actually an alien? If you talk to Shirley Wild, she dealt with an alien by the name of Da. And at one point she said, why do you scare me? Why do you come like that? And where are you from? And he said, I'm not even an alien. And this is the whole thing. They're like etheric beings, and they take on alien things to make us believe, because we're in the space race. They could have been fairies 100 years ago, whatever, that I do not even think it's alien anymore. So I think it's higher than that. It's etheric type beings, and that they are projecting. They are using screen images. They can do it with us. They can actually appear. And a number of people, you watch the experiencers when they talk, a number of them will say, the alien, it was a ball of light. Stephen Greer tells a story. It's a ball of light. It comes into the room, and the ball of light changes into an alien. So my question is, if it's flesh and blood alien, and it does have a physical, it will come into our physical world, it will take on a physical shape.
Right.
But if it's a ball of light, does a ball of light get up in the morning and eat bacon, eggs, toast, and coffee? It's a higher thing. It's in the same world as ghosts, as all this kind of stuff. They're in this what I call non-local consciousness.
Okay.
There is only consciousness. The physical consciousness makes us think there's time, space, physical world. None of that exists. And when you get into that world, and the aliens live in that world where it's dreams, it's ghosts, that's why dead people are shown to people experiences. They live in this world of non-local consciousness. They can come into the physical world, but they don't live in that world. I believe they're in this non-local consciousness, and we just associate that there's us versus them. It's all one. We're all one. And they have the ability to come into this world, and that's where you get this idea that you're flying the craft, and we're pretty sure of this. The free survey shows that 13% of all experiencers out of the 2,500 people who've done the survey said they were flown the craft. I've talked to 36 people who've flown the craft. Nobody has ever said anything different. They've all said the same thing. When I hear they're flying, I say, how do you fly a craft? Nobody said anything different. They say, you do it with your mind. That's how they do it. They understand this. Everything's telepathic, and you start to realize if you've got to get rid of the assumption that there's a physical world, time and space, and then you can start to understand what's actually going on. As long as we believe it's a physical world and this is a physical phenomenon, we are never going to understand what's going on.
Wow, man. There's so many more questions that I can ask, but
I heard that. Me too.
Oh my God. So do you think it's because we talk religion here, we talk about the Bible. Do you think these aliens are from that type of world, the underworld, bad, evil?
No,
because that we get that a lot.
I do not believe in evil aliens. I do not believe in evil people. I give the example. I say, give me a nation on earth that's actually evil, where everybody's born evil, where women don't cry for their children. We have this idea of evil, and we used to think it was the Japanese were evil in World War II, and we dropped 2 atomic bombs on them. And then we thought it was the Gooks in North Vietnam, and then we thought it was the Germans. We bombed the Germans, and then it was like the evil all evaporated, and we're trading with them. Now they're the good guys. And I don't really believe there's evil. I believe that everybody is the same, that we all have evil, we all have good and bad inside us, whether we're aliens or whatever. When it comes to the Bible, I think that the Bible is the same thing. Everybody's linking into this, what I call a non-local consciousness, that it's all non-local consciousness. The physical consciousness is the illusion. So it's this non-local consciousness. So you have the people in the Bible were tapped into that, and they were pulling down these ideas of the universe, which were right about God and about inspired word, and you see all these parallels. So everybody's tapping in. So that's why I say whether you're a medium, most mediums have childhood abuse issues, child sex abuse or psychological abuse, and they're able to dissociate. And that's the key word is whether you're using hypnosis or psychedelic drugs or inspired word of God, meditation, prayer, whatever it is, that you're able to tap into that world. And we're tapping into the world where the aliens live. And that's why aliens, a lot of people will say, I wasn't abducted. I just see them in my dreams. And alien channelers will tell you, we come to you in your dreams because now you're in our world. They live in this world, this non-local world. It's not a physical world, and they can pop in. The same as in the Bible. People, whether say the Revelation, where suddenly, whatever method, he suddenly was transported, and he was able to gather all this material and download all this material. And that's what it comes down to, whether you're using meditation or however you do it. You can actually tap into this world, and you can pull this kind of stuff. I've actually written a book that's coming out before the middle of November on inspiration and downloads. I go through music, I go through Nobel Prizes, I go through inventions, I go through aliens, I go through everything. And it's the old thing. It's the same thing all the time. It's downloading into this world. I talk about the number of Nobel Prizes that came through dreams, through downloads, music that comes through downloads, through dreams. And it's the same sort of thing. It's tapping into this world of the non-local consciousness, which is the universe. We just think that there's our consciousness and their consciousness, and that's when you come to this idea about evil aliens. I say, if you really believe there's evil aliens, and you get these people who are flying the craft, most of the people who fly the craft are women. So I say, we think we're the good guys on Earth, we're the good guys, and there's these evil aliens. Well, if you're a woman in Saudi Arabia, it's illegal for you to drive a car. But if the aliens abduct you, not only can you drive, no license, no insurance, they'll let you fly the craft. And so this whole idea is if you look at the free survey and you take a look at the idea that was put out by Hopkins and Jacobs was that this is evil, they're intruders, they're ruining us and whatever. If you actually talk to the experiencers, and this is the key, you got to talk to the people who are actually going on. 2,500 people have filled out the free survey. When you ask them the question, was this evil? It's 9%. There's something wrong with the figures. Between Hopkins figures, which says 100%, and when you actually talk to people, it's 9%, where they say no. And I'll guarantee you those 9% are people who really haven't been regressed. In every case that I think, when the people get regressed, when they start to figure out, Chris Bledsoe is a prime example. Spent 9 months sitting in his room. He wasn't allowed to talk to his wife. His wife locked him up in an insane asylum. His kid was locked in a room for 6 months. His life, he was suicidal. His life was over. You talk to him now after he's been regressed, after he suddenly dealt with this and the images came back. He thinks he's saving the world. He's running around. He's healing people. He's doing all this kind of stuff. And so you see that I believe these 9% are people who are just into it, and they really don't really realize what's going on. The more you deal with people with the regressions and all this kind of stuff, the less evil it becomes. And I agree with Mary Rodwell, who's done 3,000 regressions, and I asked Mary Rodwell the question about the whole question about when you ask the experiencer at any point in the past, did you agree to be in this situation under hypnosis? Mary Rodwell says the answer will be 100%. If you ask the people under deep hypnosis, did you agree to be in this situation? They're not abductees. They are volunteers. They have agreed to come into this world to raise consciousness, to do whatever this thing is that they're doing. So I do not believe in evil aliens. I know there's lots of people still believe, and that's one of the issues that I guess the military uses to the president is, these could be evil aliens. They're going to try to take us over. If they wanted to take us over, they would have taken us over a long time ago. Why would they wait for us to develop technology, which we can shoot them down with? If they wanted to take us over, they would have taken us over. They know. The American military does not know. The American military thinks you can go into Iraq and Afghanistan and all these places and that you can just sort of dominate the people, and you realize after you've been there for a couple of years, you cannot take over. It is impossible. Every time an alien steps up, someone's going to throw a rock or kill them or whatever. You cannot take over. That's not how it works. The aliens know that lesson. We as human beings have not. We still think you can actually go and take over our country. Nobody's taking over. They're here to raise consciousness. I am thoroughly assured this is what's going on, and they're trying to give us the number one message is oneness. They have the message about control your thoughts, and if you deal with the experiences, that's what you got to deal with the experiencers. Is these are the messages that the experiencers are putting out.
Okay. Wow. All right. Hey, Grant, I've had you on for over an hour and a half.
And you're
that
wonderful.
Is awesome.
Awesome.
I was just here listening, and I'm blown away.
Me too.
We got to get you back again. I have the cover of your book on the screen right now, the Clinton UFO Storybook, E.T. Politics in the White House. You can get that on Amazon. Is that correct?
You can get it on Amazon, yes.
Okay. And you have another book coming out here pretty quick.
I have actually 3 books. I have a book called Tales of Charlie Red Star, which is being put out by a publisher. It's the story of how I started back in the 1970s. I had no interest in UFOs. This tells the story about this town. It's the biggest UFO flap in Canada for sure, maybe in the States. Went on for a whole year. I tell the whole story of why it was there, what was going on. And then I do the book on inspirations and downloads, where good ideas come from. This whole thing about this non-local consciousness, where good ideas and downloads and stuff. And then I do one specifically on music, on the alien connection to music. The number of musicians that are interested in alien rock music, and the whole reason why they're being picked. And I go through a number of examples on this. So I've got actually 3 books coming out. They'll all be out. Well, so 2 of them for sure will be out by the middle of November.
I can't wait for that one.
So we got to have you on 3 more times at least.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Grant, your website's presidentialufo.com. That's where I first found out about you. And for all those who are interested in his work, go there. You have another website, or that's pretty much it there?
I have the blog site where I post a lot of different types of articles, and that's if you Google search White House UFO, all one word, and blog. It will pop up my blog site.
Awesome.
And I have some interesting articles there.
Awesome, Grant. Well, hey, I appreciate it. We're going to get you back
Thank
on
you.
here. As soon as your books come out, we're going to get you back on here. We're going to talk about it because, man, you can talk for hours. And, man, I'm just here listening, and I'm enjoying the hell out of this, man.
Yeah.
This is awesome. All right, Grant.
I appreciate your interest. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you
night.
very much. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. He could have gone on for another 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could push record and listen to him in my sleep.
That was awesome. He's been around for a long time, you guys. I mean, he has been around for a long time. He's there with Bassett, James Fox. He's well known around the world. He's has connections and he's spoken to people that we have no idea who. He knows kind of what's going on with the uppers. And a disclosure, will it ever happen? You know what? I just don't know. I really don't. So, okay, we're going to get Heidi. Since we've got the screen down, let's go ahead and get Heidi. I think Heidi's on there, right?
Yeah, she's been
waiting probably.
Yeah. She said she's broadcasting from her phone in the car in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Oh, I guess everybody can see that.
Oh, not really, but all right. Well, yeah, go ahead and pull her up.
Well, I asked her if she's ready. She's.
Oh, got it. Hope you guys enjoy that. I mean, I try to get a word in there edgewise, but I'll let him go.
I think those are the best ones. Like,
absolutely,
he had information, and we didn't have to ask a question.
Absolutely,
I mean, even though I had 5 questions, burning ones, like when he said he got a download, it was like, tell me about this download,
right.
And then the second one was, what got him started in this? You know what I mean?
It was a sighting that he had in, I think it was in the Vietnam War, and I think that's where he saw, it's called Charlie Red Star, and he's writing a book about that. And I was going to talk about that too, but, he was really going strong on the Clintons and Podesta. And
well, I mean, he came out with it. He answered the questions. I mean, that was the question, right?
Right.
And that's what we wanted to know.
Yeah. So
okay, I'm going to give her a ring here.
Okay.
Let's see what she says. Yeah, he definitely was nonstop.
Absolutely.
And
that was awesome, man. I had a smile on my face between here and here. I was going, go, man, go.
Yeah, that's like one of the best guests we had so far in information,
Right. Because it's all about the White House president. What do they know?
I wanted to ask him about the president, the President Reagan one.
Oh, yeah.
And I know he knows.
Are you there?
Hello.
Heidi?
It might have not contacted.
Oh, so it didn't go through?
I don't know.
All right, so we're going to try it again.
Is there a Heidi in the house? Maybe not.
Nope, not yet.
It says that the call is in.
I don't hear her. And I know it's working because we obviously had her going. So
I mean, it's
the volume,
counting down.
The volume is still there.
It's counting down, but I guess not, huh? Maybe she was.
Oops.
Yikes.
Want to try it again real quick?
Yeah, one more time.
Maybe her phone Skype is not working probably.
Oh.
Because if that's what she's trying to do.
Yeah, she says she's in the car. Maybe she's in an area where, it says it's connecting. Yeah, man, interesting, like the idea that the president gets briefed, but only they can't admit it.
Right. Sure. I mean, if that was the case, oh my God, it's like I said, like I
The
said.
person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable.
Okay.
Oh, well.
All right, that's cool.
We'll try again.
So we'll try again in a little bit. So, all right, well, let's continue on with the show. I still have some stuff I want to talk about and show you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that like I did. That was awesome. So let's go ahead. Now, we'll leave the screen down in case she Skypes in. So, Heidi, if you're listening, go ahead and just Skype in and Alan will answer it. All right, so let me go to my desktop here and pull up some stuff that I want to show. Oh, that's right. Okay. We went to the spot this past Wednesday. A friend of ours, Isaiah Gonzalez, was up with his family. His dad, his uncle, and a friend of his were up at the Shaver, and they go there every year. And what they do is they rent out a spot and they go up to Courtright. They go fishing. They come back. They go to Courtright. They go fishing. This is where Isaac had that Bigfoot sighting, well, with his uncle, I think. And so he said, man, come up here and just have barbecue with us. He wanted actually for us to go up and spend the night, but we just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because with work and family. So I said, well, I think this would be a good time to go up to the spot where we have our 4 cameras and that crate of vegetables and fruits. And I said, let's go ahead and make a day out of it, and we'll go up there and go to the spot. And they said, cool deal. So we went this past Wednesday, and we went to the campsite where they were at. Then we got in 2 cars, and then we drove up to the spot where where we had set up the cameras. And I showed you guys last month when we were up where the cameras were set up and for. This time
Is this Heidi? Did I get her?
There you go, that's Heidi. Heidi.
Hello? Did I hang up on her? What happened?
You're fired. Well, keep trying to bring her up. So if we get Heidi right now, guys, we're going to go past the allotted 2-hour time, and I'm pretty sure you guys don't have a problem with that because there's some pictures that I want to show you and things I want to talk about. Heidi, you there? No. Okay. So we went to the spot, and and I noticed the crate was on the floor, and the vegetables. Let's see. If you guys remember last time, I'm trying to remember. I don't have the picture
The
here.
person whom you're trying to reach is currently...
So I had corn, I had squash, I had apples, bananas, some colored rocks, and some grapes, right? And when we got there, the crate was on the floor, because what I should have done, but I did bring my drill. I wanted to drill the box onto the wood so that way it wouldn't tip over or nothing would knock it over. And I couldn't do it. So I knew that if something tried to reach in and put weight on it, it would tip over, and that's exactly what happened. Now, all the bananas were gone. All the apples were gone. All the grapes were gone. The only thing that were left but were chewed on were the oranges and the corn on the cob and the squash. And you can tell that something was gnawing on it like a deer or whatever. Now, you guys have been watching the show. You guys have seen photographs of the spot. Now, the spot where I put this crate is not more than 50 feet from where we had laid the stuff on the ground before, right? Is she on? Not yet, right?
No.
Okay. And the apples were taken, the stickers were peeled off, left, the bananas were actually eaten there, and the Jiffy peanut butter cap was removed. It was whatever, all the peanut butter inside was taken out and eaten. Sometimes you would see the jar and not see the jar, and I showed all the pictures. You guys all remember I showed you. Okay, so what was odd about this is that all the bananas were gone, and all of the apples were gone, and all of the grapes were gone. This is usually what happens when a bear gets a hold of everything and eats it. So what I'm going to show you right now is going to be, let me pull up, let me show you the crate that I had. Actually, not that was afterwards. Let me show you real quick here. Let me put up, I think it's going to be this one here. All right, so let me go to screen, and I don't care if you don't see us again. So here are the pictures, all right? Okay, just like off the SD card. And what I'm going to do is I am going to start. This is a small one that we put on the ground facing upward along this tree trunk, and obviously it was all, as you can see, it's all, it was activated like a dummy. I should have not turned it on when I had it on me. But I'm going to go ahead and start here. And this is with me placing everything, and at this point in time right here is where the crate is right there. That's where I left it. So I'm gonna go picture by picture. A deer. Okay, now you know what's upsetting is this has nothing to do with what we're doing here, but somebody emailed or sent a message to Ellen, and they said that how do we believe you guys are not doing this in your backyard?
Yeah, like from a parking lot.
From a parking lot or from a park in your
where you're just parking a parking lot next to a wooded area, and you're just like taping and taking pictures right there, and you're just not showing the car in the parking lot.
For whoever wrote that, you're an idiot. Period. Okay. moving along. And here is a deer. And okay, I confessed. I actually went and I shot a deer. I actually had it mounted and stuffed, and I put it in the picture whenever, I just do it. Whatever. This is the real deer. Okay.
Yep, it is.
There it is. Okay. Go to the next picture. And
Hey,
it moved again.
We weren't in any parking lot. I got
moved again.
stung over there.
And it moved again. And it moved again. And it moved again. And the deer came up to the camera and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then it's the deer again. It's the deer again. There's the deer's ass. Probably deer's butt again. And he moves along. Okay, so I'm going picture to picture. And look what we have here, guys. Yep, this was shot right here in Fresno, California, right in my backyard. And there is a bear living in our area. Bull crap. Okay, there's a bear. You see it? And there he is. It's a good-sized bear, man.
Yeah, it is.
There he is. He's looking around. He's looking around. He's smelling it. See, the crate is right above his head, and he's going, "Dude, I smell some food. Where is it?" I smell it. Oh, it's up there. There it is. I think it's up there. It's a big bear. He's looking around. Oh. He found the food. Oh, he knocked down the crate, you ass. Okay, so he knocked down the crate. And
then he comes over to check us out.
There's the bear. Click, click. The camera's taking click, 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 click. Taking a picture of the bear. There's the bear. There's the bear. There's the bear. There's the bear. But you know what's tripping, though? I just noticed something. The fruit and the vegetables is like right here. I'm circling it with my... I haven't seen the bear stop to eat.
No, he didn't.
You realize that? I just barely realized that. Okay, let's go to the next picture.
See, now he might be grabbing something. Remember when we were at Thule Res, how he would do... There was a bear there, and he would run by, grab something, and keep running.
And take off.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so...
He didn't stand there and munch.
But this bear here is just like he's walking around. Looked like he might have picked up something there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he didn't stay there. See,
No.
He might have grabbed one thing, and now we're daytime.
Right, and here's that deer again.
Yeah.
That stupid deer seems to be coming around for some reason. All right. There's the deer.
You know what's cool is we have
Deer.
more than one angle.
Actually, this is a different deer. If you notice the antlers on his head, see it right there. Okay.
That one's a trophy.
All right. Go. And the deer's probably... What's that? Go back. What's that? What the hell is that?
I don't know. It doesn't look like a deer.
What is that, guys?
It doesn't look like a bear either.
Don't. What the hell is that? Is that a hand? And the fingernails right there? What? No, come on.
Wow, you mean we caught something we didn't catch it
We didn't
at
catch
first?
it. I thought it was a freaking deer. Okay, now here I see... I don't know if you can see it, but there's hair. What is this? I don't understand what that is. Okay. We're just going to go along. Keep on going. Okay, there's the deer. It could be the deer. Maybe there's a different... but, okay, there's the deer. Deer. Now, he looked like he's munching on the vegetables there. It looked like, And I brought back the corn and the squash, and it has buck teeth markings on it, so I'm pretty sure the deer had... It's, but there's the deer, and it looked like he's munching on it. And there's the deer again. He comes back for seconds and thirds. And this is nighttime. Daytime. What was that?
There was a couple of things
See
I
this
couldn't
right here on the
explain
on the
either.
right hand side. See how that comes in to focus, then it's out. There it is. There was no bushes there next to that tree trunk. That's interesting. And we're back. All right, so I come back. I'm all yelling and screaming. Damn it! It was my fault for not actually securing it like I should have, but it was a bear who did it. So let's go to the next one real quick. We didn't get anything here except this is a different angle, and this one's on a tree. And if I go in here, it looks like you have the ear. Looks like it's a bear. The head. I think that's the head of the bear right there. But he's high on the tree. He's actually climbed up here on top. So he's walking around, and that's pretty much it. So we didn't get anything here, any disappearances, any weird, whatever. But that's pretty much it. A bear took all of my fruits and stuff. This time I took a drill and I drilled the crate on, and this is what I left for them this time. Okay. So right now that crate is I put like 10 wood screws into that wood. So there's no way if a bear got up there and tried to tip it, knock it down, it is not going to come down, not unless the bear tears it up. But this time I left them a smorgasbord of stuff. Oranges, grapes, apples, carrots, squash, corn, two jars of peanut butter, corn on the cob, and a mushy little ball. Okay, because I remember somebody texted me and said that they had a vision and said for me to leave a ball for the young Bigfoot. So this is what I did. I left it. So this is what we left last Wednesday at the spot. And I plan to go back next month to retrieve the SD cards and to see if we got anything. I was climbing on one of these things, getting to one of the cameras, and I slipped and fell, and I hit my face against one of the trees, and I was bleeding all up my nose, and that's my first injury ever that I had up there doing something like this. But it didn't hurt, but I was bleeding everywhere, and I got the scabs on my face to prove it. All right, so no Heidi yet?
No,
Okay.
She says
It's not going to work, huh? Okay.
We might, she said we could probably take a phone call, but we could also wait till next week.
We'll wait till next week.
And I told her next week.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
All right, so let me show you one more picture.
I mean, we could still go over doing the pictures and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got some stuff I want to show you. So this on social media today. Naomi Campbell, for those who don't know, a model. There she is. I'm making sure I have it on the screen so you can see it. Yep. She married, I guess, a very wealthy Russian businessman. And he built her a home. And check it out from the sky what the home looks like. The home is right here. That's the round thing. I think it's 2 or 3 stories. But check out the design around the home. Is that... you guys all know what that is. I really don't have to say anything about that. Right? The all-seeing eye.
Pineal gland.
The pineal gland or the all-seeing eye could be taken 2 different ways. Yes. But yeah. So that I guess he married that Russian multi-billionaire, and he made her a house, and that's what the house looks like from the sky.
Wow.
So why would you do that? As if you're trying to signal somebody from the sky. Okay. All right.
Aliens.
I didn't say that. You did. Okay. So there you go. Even somebody posted here. I don't believe the Illuminati exist in reality, but then the house that Naomi Campbell looks like it's just a coincidence. No, I don't think it's a coincidence. That was made on purpose. Okay.
Okay. Which picture?
What?
It's the Eye of Horus.
Right.
And they say, tell him to go back to that picture.
What picture?
Big creatures, big fruit. I don't know.
I have no idea what he's talking about. Are you talking about the pictures of the SD card on the camera type of deal, or is that what he's trying to talk about?
He says, I swear I saw what looked like a Bigfoot.
No, it wasn't. I know what you're talking about. It's just shadows. Matter of fact, when we were there last Wednesday, check out what we found.
Says there's a Bigfoot right there and you don't know it.
Okay. Screen, there it is. Check this out. And
which one is it? Which picture is it? It is.
Hold on, my wife is texting me. Chat wants picture again, going crazy. Okay, let's go back. All right. Don't. Okay, so it's got to be. I only showed a couple here, so that means it's got to be the first one. Oops. So it's probably going to be this one here.
The one with the hand, or
is it? Okay, you guys. Was it the first set of pictures or the second set of pictures? Can they tell me that? Because there are so many pictures here. I don't.
You just said yes.
First set of pictures or second set of pictures? Please put that on chat. First set of pictures or second? The one with the bear or the other one was just the shadow. What looks to be the ear of the bear.
The creature on the there. Okay, you guys. There's 2,000 pictures. I know he just only showed a few, but we're just trying to figure out. It's in the first set,
Okay.
right?
All right. So let's go to the last one where I'm here, leaving the crate,
Creature to the left.
and let me. put
That
the
was
screen-
dark.
Okay, I
of
saw.
the
I,
deer.
I'm pretty sure I saw. Well, then it's going to be on the other one. Then I don't think it's going to be here.
The first set.
It's got to be the second set. Well, let's see.
It's the one standing next to the deer. Like that one right there.
But see, they're getting a delay.
Oh, so we kind of have to slow down.
Yeah.
It's okay. The second set.
See, I really don't think a Bigfoot is going to be hanging around when there's an animal there, because the animal's probably going to sense the Bigfoot and it's not going to be around. If that's what you're trying to get at, if there's a Bigfoot near the deer, I don't think that's the case at all. It's got to be a shadow.
That
See,
one
but-
right there.
but
Okay.
that
Is that
one-
it?
Okay, I'll leave it there because there's a delay.
Right.
You know, so I don't know if this is what you guys are. What is that? Is that like nails? Is that the hand? I mean, that, to be honest, that looks more structural.
Yeah.
Something standing, right? Come on, that can't be no.
That's the one. Okay. We
That-
do have it on there. This
Okay.
is the one.
And then up here again, there's like something on top. See it
Yeah.
right there?
Hmm.
There it is again.
Yep.
Now it's gone.
Now it's a deer again.
But see, even if the deer came up close to the camera, it would be that right there seems to be something tall.
Right.
Come on. Let me go back. That right there, that picture intrigues me. Let me. What is that?
Man, it almost looks like fingers.
It well, yeah, it does. But see that right there looks like a jacket, a coat. Well, no, I can't say it's a coat or jacket.
See, the thing is, you guys, okay, like somebody said, it might be the game warden. There's
It's not a game one.
look, this is not by the parking lot, okay? I got to tell you. This is off
Did
the
he-
road.
Now,
and
if it was a game warden, don't you think he would have gone over to the crate and lifted the crate?
it
and-
could have been a hunter. There was
No.
some hunters,
No,
you know.
no, it's okay. Time out. No, because I have 4 cameras.
Right, yeah. We didn't see anybody else.
We didn't see
you know.
anybody's on those 4 cameras, you guys, and we went through thousands and thousands of pictures. So there was
Yes.
nobody there that represents something tall walking right here. You guys have to understand, all right? Again, middle of frickin' nowhere. I don't know what this is. I don't remember seeing this when we were going through them really quick.
And if you guys are looking at this picture right here, those are tree structures that you're looking at that we put the box on. I mean, some big mega tree structures, and they're all around. It's almost like like I'm a hunter, okay? So the way that the tree structures are set up, there's a game trail that comes around through some thick woods, and it would seem like that. It would seem like to me like the Bigfoot was kind of going to ambush some animals, okay? And there's actually Zachariah and the other guys that were with us. There was a bed. There was actually 2.
Isaac.
Yeah, Isaac and them. There was 2 beds where you could see where the Bigfoot were laying down, but they were laying down where if a deer or anything was running up, they wouldn't be seen. And then they would run into this barricade of where we put this fruit and cameras, okay?
You know, that could be the deer. That could be a deer.
But only that what I didn't say this to anybody, but only it looks like a barricade or a trap. Like 2 Bigfoot lay down by the trees, and then another couple of Bigfoots chase some deer into that little hole, and then they jump them right there. It's easier. It's an easier way to hunt than it is to chase a deer down.
See,
okay?
I can't say that that's a deer because there is a straight. It's just, you know what I'm saying? There's a straight
He says there's a face in the upper left like it is looking at the box. It's huge.
What face? What are you talking
And
about?
they said it looks like maybe a dog man.
This thing right here that we're looking at?
Yeah. They're seeing the face. Man, too bad we couldn't put that on the big screen. What picture is that?
You'll see it clearly here than up there on the screen because the color won't all be there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm looking for me, you know.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
So you guys
Wait,
see
I
a
can-
dog man there? What?
It almost looks like a gorilla, kind of like that's the side of the face right here.
Kind of a face?
Yeah, and it's looking straight at the box.
Oh shit! I see what you're saying. So
You know
you're
what
saying,
you're
so,
saying?
so you're saying this is the forehead,
Yeah,
and then this is the face,
that's the cheek. Yeah.
and this is the arm.
Right,
Holy smokes!
and it has like a
Holy
slanted
shit,
head.
Batman!
Yeah. So now we're seeing it. But anyways, that's a barricade. I actually believe that they run the deer into there and then they ambush him.
Okay,
and that's why it's a good place.
I see what you guys are looking at now. Okay.
Actually that camera isn't very high off the ground. It was
No.
only,
This
yeah.
camera here, that you see here, is mounted on a tree stump that was cut, and the tree stump is approximately 2 feet high. And I wrapped this small game camera around the tree stump, facing upwards towards the crate where it would have been right here. But okay, now I'm gonna go forward one picture because this thing moves. There it is again, and then actually let me go back. Hold on. Boom. So this is it again. Now, it probably realizes that there's a camera there, so it's trying to stay out of its
Right, it's trying to stay out of it.
so it doesn't get caught, thinking that where it was before, it was okay. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, I don't know what that is, but I see I see structure of a possible arm right there, right?
Yeah.
Straightness.
There's some lines
There's
that
some lines.
just doesn't happen.
And again, you guys, we didn't get.
There was a deer there, and it could have been after the deer. It really could have.
Watch. Boom. There's
the deer.
Well, see, 8:20. See, but look at But see, look at
See,
the
now
date. Look at the date below is 8:22 at 7:45 in the morning, and the deer appears at 28. So we're talking 6 days difference.
Yeah. Even though that's not the time, I don't know. Maybe that one's right, but not all the cameras have the right date and
Right.
time.
Yeah.
They're not synced up.
Right. They're not, and I should sync it up, but.
But like I was saying, where that is, there's a game trail that runs into that, and you're running right into a dead end, okay? And there's these huge logs, and they're all intertwined. They didn't fall like that. They were placed in there. And it actually makes like a corral, like a half a corral.
Check this out.
And
Whoa.
I actually believe that they chased the deer in there. And
Hey.
Uh-huh.
Look at that stick, the way it moves. See that bottom stick? Like there was some weight on it. Look over here. It's a delay on you. You see that, you guys? The stick, this stick down here at the bottom. Look. It's up. It's down. It's up. It's down. Like something that's on it.
When the deer looks up.
See it though? You see that? Look over here though. This one right there.
Oh, yeah.
See how there's movement there?
Yeah.
It's moving up and down like something is had his. I'm not saying his hands on there, but a deer would not
No, they don't step on
step on logs like
Only
that.
the bear, maybe.
But there's no bear at this point in time. I just barely caught that right now. Interesting, huh?
Yeah, that is.
There's a deer again. There's the
Deer is
night.
going after
See,
the
see,
deer.
you see this camera up here, guys? I'm circling it right now.
Yeah.
This is the one that. No, because I think there's another camera over there. I don't know. I have 4 cameras set up all around. The other ones we didn't get anything except for some deer, but okay, I'm going through them right now. See, this is what intrigued me right here too. Look at the right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
See, I saw that too, and it's hard to tell. I mean, you don't know, It's just like some kind of fuzzy
But
something.
and you guys have to realize, right, to the right-hand side of that camera, there are no bushes or trees or
Nope.
anything like that.
That's where the game trail comes in.
So I don't understand what that could be right there. I don't get it. Let me go back. See, it's not there on the right-hand side.
It really does try to avoid the cameras at all costs.
All right, let's go back
Yeah.
to the so-called dog man. I bet you Elizabeth Martinez was saying that. There it is. See, it's on top. You see it right there? It's on top of the camera. Like it knows the camera's there. And there it is again there.
It's hard to get the cameras all synced in like that. Because
What-
Jeffrey climbs the trees and has to carry the batteries and.
Well, what do you mean
know,
sync? What do you mean by sync?
Like all the dates all the same, all
Oh.
the times all the same.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't change the batteries, and the batteries. One camera didn't take a lot of pictures, so it has fresh batteries still, and
So, okay, so now I see...
plus it takes a
eyes-
long time to hike in there.
Yeah,
I mean, we're
I-
not
I-
hiking from the parking lot.
I see like possible an eye socket there, an eye socket there, the nose maybe. Is that what you guys are seeing right there? This is the forehead, and it goes up here for the head.
Right.
Holy shit, Batman!
It does look like that, huh?
Oh God, what did I get myself into? Oh. Okay. I don't know what to tell you guys about this.
We're actually thinking about better cameras even now.
Well,
you know.
yeah, I mean, you guys have
'Cause
to
these go like
understand.
30 feet.
We have no budget.
Yeah.
So, and the cameras I've had are I've had for years. Matter
These
of
are
fact,
old.
one camera I had to now to completely take it down because the protector, the white protector that goes over the motion sensor itself broke. It crumbled because it's so old, and it was taking picture after picture after picture. I think it took like 1,500 pictures. Just every time there was a shadow, just boom, took a picture. Well, I don't know what to tell you about this particular photograph, guys, but I'm going to take a snapshot of it right here. And I think, Alan, you told me it was like that.
There you go.
And I will grab it, and I don't know what to tell you. You can have a wild imagination, and, you can look at that, and you can see a face, you can see the shoulder, you can see the head, you can see the arm.
And Jimbo, that's in chat, we
Mhm.
actually had 4 cameras aiming at each other
Right.
right here.
But
And
we
what's
didn't get
weird-
this. We didn't get this on any other cameras.
Exactly. This only showed up in one camera, and that's what's weird about it is, like, even the bear only showed up in 2 of the cameras.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it's weird how it
Well,
is
and,
weird.
and I'm going to tell you why. It's because the sensor is probably pointing downward to where it's on the other side of where the crate. I know
Right.
I know it's hard to explain, but I tried to place the cameras pointing at the direction. My intent here was to get every angle for if something would to walk in to this spot. Any of these cameras were going to get it.
Right.
That was my intention. So this camera here did its job at this thing was coming to the left and stopped and didn't go any further. Did he turn around at this point and look down and say, oh shit, there's a camera there? And then he backed up. Then he backed up, and that was the end of that. So was that the case? Because it looks like it's here, right? You see on top? It's on top. Like
He probably didn't even see the camera on the stump because it was kind of hidden inside the stump.
Yeah, exactly. I placed bark around it to try to hide it. So
Yeah.
so it looks like this thing, whatever it is, was walking. All of a sudden, the camera went click, or it sensed something and it turned its head, and that's when it got it. Again, I'm not saying it's the head, but you guys are saying it's the head. We need to lighten that up.
We don't know what it is. Another Mickey Burrow. Maybe Mickey can do something with it.
I need to send that to Mickey.
Because even when it, wow.
I don't know, guys. Oh, I mean, I don't know.
That
guys.
almost looks like the bear chin.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But that if it was a bear, it should have went over to where the food was at and smelled around.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it stopped. It didn't go any further. It looked like it's looking at the camera that's on the floor, taking a picture of it, and it's going, "Oh shit, it got me." Okay, guys. Well, I don't know what else to tell you. Did we get something? It sure looks like we got something. I don't think it's a person, because I think a person would not have stopped there. If that is a person and it's looking at that camera, that person would have stole my camera.
Yeah, or maybe even a couple of more of them.
Yeah, because that's what hunters do, is they steal cameras, especially that low. So I don't think that's a person. And if it was a person, it probably should have gone and walked about 10 feet further in front, where it's at right now, and picked up the crate, because the crate was upside down and there was vegetables and stuff underneath it. And it probably should have been suspicious and would have walked over, turned over the crate and said, "What's the crate doing in the wilderness?" You know, but this thing didn't do that. So I don't think this thing is a person, to be honest. I really don't.
Yeah, because that's like 400 yards off the main trail.
Yeah, trust me, guys. If there were people walking around, my other 3 cameras would have got them walking around.
Yeah.
That's not the case here. All right, you guys? So I don't know what this thing is. I'm speechless right now, because, you know, I saw this at one point in time, and I thought it was the bear's ass or something. But now, since you guys really brought it to my attention, and I'm looking at this part right here, and the son of a bitch looks like a face.
Yep, on the side. Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna have nightmares.
Yeah,
tonight.
there was a hunter close, but not real close to it. There, some people left that tent. Remember?
Oh yeah, but that was.
Yeah, it's like 500 yards away, and then it's out in the open by these power lines. This is like in the dense wood structure area, and actually there's no real. Well, there is a trail kind of going to it, but I think that's how the Bigfoot are ambushing the deer, and like Rhino is, if he's still in there, we were pointing out him and his dad. They were pointing out a bed in the dirt, and I think, and it was a big one, you know, about 7 feet, 6, 8, 7 feet. And the Bigfoot lay there and wait for then the other one chases it into the barricade, and then
Isaac is in the chat. He's got to be.
Yeah, his Rhino, I think, inside here.
He's got to be freaking out because, dude, I don't know, dude.
I think he's calling himself Rhino or Jimbo, maybe.
Okay,
no.
well, all right. Well, there it is, guys.
Rhino.
Obviously, it's something. It's an object. Is it human? I really don't think it's human, and I'm going to tell you why again, because my other camera should have picked it up. A human, if with the curiosities of human, that crate that's upside down, the human should have went over there and tipped up over the crate to see, hey, what is this crate doing here? I would have done that, not knowing there's cameras all around. But this thing did not do that.
Usually when humans do get in the shot, we get 3 or 4 shots of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always. You know,
and,
we've got shots of guys that are, we know that they're growers in another area that we go to.
Let me go to here.
And, I mean, we always get 2 or 3 shots of them.
So, check it out, guys.
Oh, yeah, maybe they could see the camera.
Okay, so no. See, the camera right now is behind this tree, right on the floor, right behind this tree on the floor. That's where this tree stump is. That's where that other camera's at. So the thing walked right through here, and I'm circling it with my my arrow. So I'm gonna go, and I'm just gonna go ahead, and I'm going to, and I think we get see that there's that's a bear. There's his ear. There's the bear ear. But that camera, this camera's up. I didn't gaff this one. I actually had to climb up to get to the area. But
That bear is walking a pole.
yes, he's walking a pole. That's where I fell off. Okay, so now it's off. You know, the crate was here. The crate is down there. You just can't see it because it's underneath all this crap. So let me continue on. Okay, you see that? There's a deer back here. Do you see it? I'm circling it with my mouse. It's gone. There it is. It's gone. Okay, so let's go forward some more. There it is. Picture. Another picture. Another picture. Another picture. Another picture. Another picture. This is another picture. Another picture. So, okay. What if... Okay, I'm going really down a rabbit hole here. Ready? What if the Bigfoot saw this this camera, and it's coming and walking in line with with this tree that is blocking?
And can't see the camera
And it can't see the camera.
And then it walked
Right past
to
the
it,
tree stump.
and then saw the camera, and then backed up.
Oh, F me. You follow me?
Yeah.
Because that's right exactly where the tree stump is behind here, and that's exactly where that thing would have been.
Yeah, it would have been just to the
To the right
of it of what we're looking at.
But the whatever saw the camera from a distance and knew to put that tree in between that camera and itself so it would not take a picture.
Right.
And then it walked, and
A
then
little
it
bit
looked
too
at the
far.
and then it looked at the bottom and said, "Oh shit!" Click.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm tripping out right now. Oh, I think we got something, you guys. Oh my God, I think we got something. So that means, okay, then you know what? Let's continue looking and see if we see a shadow right around this tree where this thing would have been walking towards the camera.
If you can figure out the time.
Yeah. See, if the camera, obviously, if it didn't. Oh
I
my
know they
God.
used trees like that,
Dude, okay.
because that's how that one got away from me.
You. That's why I
Mhm.
mentioned it. I think we got something then. I really do. I swear to God, I really do. I think we got something. Because that totally makes sense. Why this camera didn't get it is because it knew to place this tree in the way of its...
Yeah, it's using the tree as a blockade,
As a blockade.
but it didn't see the little camera on the ground,
Exactly.
and it was focusing on the one behind the tree. Then it went too far, and then saw the camera. Was like,
Exactly.
whoa,
Oh
and
my
then backed
God.
up.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I think
get
that's,
it.
I think that's what happened, and that's me.
Yep, that's Jeff.
That's me. There's
Yeah.
my stomach. Okay, I'm just tripping out right now because that totally makes sense, doesn't it? It totally
does.
makes frickin' sense. Let's go to when I placed it on. Let's go there. That's when I finally leave it. I hope we're not boring you guys.
No, they're not
Okay.
bored. It doesn't
Okay.
look like.
Okay, so here's the camera. That is this? Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one.
that's the camera in question.
But only we're on the other side of the tree.
Right. So
Right now.
Well, no. See, that's not right. Because we would be seeing that tree if that wasn't in the way. The other camera we're talking about, I think, is over. No, see, now I'm totally lost, dude. Which camera is that? Because I know there's another camera over here, and another camera way over here, and that one there. Yeah, even Isaac just said you got something. I think, you know what? I think we did. That's the deer. That's the deer. That's the deer. That's the deer. Go back. There's probably the deer right there. There's the bear. Sniffing around. You guys can still see that, right? Yeah. And boom, knocked down my box.
But he seems to be looking at something. Did you notice that?
Yeah, like you would have thought as soon as he knocked it down,
That he would have been over digging around
yes,
on it.
that he knocked it down, boom. Then all of a sudden he
But
looks
see, he's
over
turned
there,
all the way around looking
Yes.
at something.
and we're talking. Oh, wait a minute. I'm looking at the time, 21:51 when he knocks it down, and we're at 22:23 now. So like it came back. So there's a lot of time so what it did, I know exactly what it did. He knocked it down and he ran
Yeah.
really fast,
Uh-huh.
right? Because it scared him. Remember at
Right.
Thule,
Uh-huh.
that bear just took off running. Okay, the bear
he would
came
even
back.
he would even run up. I mean, like at a dead run and grab a piece of corn and keep running.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he didn't even slow down.
So
He,
here's
he ate all the food like that.
There's the bear, still the bear. But he's not eating. There it looks like he's munching on it.
Only he didn't. I thought the box is upside down on it.
It was.
So then he didn't get none of the food.
Well, he got some of it, but as the bear would probably lifted it up and probably
Tossed
moved
it over, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he got none of it.
Okay, well, here's a deer. There's a deer, antlers on it,
And then here comes something.
and here comes.
Wow. Okay, that's weird.
I'm speechless right now, you guys. I am.
See, now you can't see the camera up there, though.
It's right
Can you?
here. It would
Oh,
be
you
right. It
can,
would be
huh?
right there. Let me go forward a little bit. See, it's right there.
Oh, okay.
But so I think then if that's the case, the tree stump is really low. This is blocking it where it crosses. I think. Okay, let me go back. Hold on. I hope you guys don't mind us doing that. You know, if we're boring, then you guys can just go ahead and just hang it up, and we'll see you next week. But I want to let you guys see all this while we figure it out, if we can. Let's go down to...
Draw it out on paper. We can't draw.
Okay.
We need an
So-
artiste.
Oh, this is the same freaking... So, okay. So I need to go... This is... I don't see that one. Is that one? That one. Okay. This is the one I want.
We can't invert the colors or anything. We're just barely in a viewer thing. Viewer. We don't have it in a picture editor.
Oh! No. This is my mistake. I know which one this is.
It's the other one.
It's the
the
other
one
one.
on the left.
This the tree
Yeah.
the tree stump is to
Uh-huh.
the right of this on the
Right.
floor.
Uh-huh.
See?
Yep.
This is the other one. This is nope, guys. I'm wrong on this. The tree stump is over here. I'm circling it to the right bottom corner, way over here, way over here. That's why. So this thing, if it would be walking, it'd be walking to the right. So now I get it. Nope, I'm totally wrong. Backwards ass on this.
See, we're actually looking at camera number 3.
Probably. Okay, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. So if the Bigfoot or dog man would come into play, it would be coming to the bottom right hand corner,
Right, and we wouldn't see it.
and we wouldn't see it unless we caught a little bit of corner of it. And I'm going to see if I did. I'm going to keep going through it and see if I see anything.
All I know is the bees sting. Well, really, they're not bees, they're wasps. But man, they sting. Woo! This one, man, he bit me on the forearm. I still have the little bite mark where he held on. And then he swung his little stinger over and stung me 4 times. I've been itching ever since.
See, and the reason why we didn't get the bear or the deer is because it's down here at the bottom right-hand corner. See, this is where the crate was, and the crate fell down here on top of the 13. This is where the crate is, way down here. See, and the reason why I placed it here, this camera, because I wanted to get something coming up this way.
Right.
And that's the whole idea. All right. So I'm still going through the pictures to see if we got anything coming from the bottom right-hand corner, and there's just me. There's me right there. Damn it. We didn't get it. Okay, you guys, have I bored you guys long enough here? I think we're going to go and call it a night. It's 8:30 already. Interesting. I think we got something, you guys.
I didn't even expect that.
I
looked at these pictures like 5 times, man. I looked at them on the way down the mountain. I looked at them yesterday at least 3 times. I think you get overwhelmed. There was like 2,000 pictures. So after a while, your eyes get kind of, it's like night, day, You see the deer, but you really don't see anything. I think the good catch was when you caught the log going up and down. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, I just, by accident, I just saw a little bit of movement. And
yeah, but you probably looked at it how many times?
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
No, this is like the first time, because I kind of like trusted you.
I think I was getting overwhelmed with all the pictures. Lots of them. There's lots of pictures. And there's lots of deer.
Trying to go to,
there's some from like a couple of weeks ago that has cows. Oh my God, there's cows for days. There was a couple of pictures though that looked pretty weird from the last time. And that bear just gets in and around there. Never found a print. I looked and looked for prints. There was no deer prints, no bear prints. Just that bed. There was 2 beds along the logs, and that's when I was thinking that they were using.
That looks like a freaking alien.
It does, doesn't it?
I see. I don't know. It's too dark. Wow, that's spooky looking. That is.
It's a little.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna leave it right there with that picture. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what it is. I think we got something. For Jeffrey Gonzalez, Alan Thomas, and Grant Cameron, thank you for coming on. We'll see you guys next week.
You have been listening to
again.
Paranormal Central with Jeffrey Gonzalez and Alan Thomas. Broadcasting worldwide at paranormalcentral.net and on our.com. Stay tuned for next time. Remember to keep your eyes to the skies. And we hope you witness something you cannot explain.